Good evening, fans, and welcome to another exciting Channel 22 sports presentation. I'm Rufus Washington this evening, and we are pleased to join you for the Mayor's Cup 2000 CIF Southern Section Bay League competition between the Leuzinger Olympians and the Hawthorne Cougars. This, of course, is the Mayor's Cup. It's a long-standing tradition and rivalry here in the Bay League, and we've got both teams ready for action. So, as we prepare for the pregame show, let's talk a little bit about what's at stake tonight. First of all, both teams come in with a record of 4-4 overall, ranked for the first time this season in the Daily Breeze Top 10. Leuzinger at number 7, Hawthorne at number 8. Both teams 3-2 in Bay League competition. The loser tonight probably will be out of the playoff hunt. The winner stays alive. So there's a lot at stake, not only the Mayor's Cup, which is traditional, but also a spot in the 2000 playoff season. So with that, we've had a great week visiting both campuses, and we've got an exciting pregame show for you that you won't want to miss. So we had the chance to visit both schools this week. Let's take a look at how things are going in the Hawthorne camp as they prepare for tonight's Mayor's Cup.
Well, we have a lot of speed. I'm also the track coach, so I'd like to tire them out, make them chase us down, utilize our speed and create some matchups that kind of hard on the defense and see if they have the foot speed to hang with us.
He's down the sideline. He's still in bounds. One man to beat. It's a foot race and he's tripped.
I'd like to get more people the ball because we have some young guys out there who can make some big plays once they catch the ball. We're catching some deep ones. Courtney Barton's our best receiver, but we also have some other guys, Elgin Simmons and Terrell Wilson, who can get the balls and do some great things with them.
And it's complete. Little juke and a duke.
We have a two-quarterback system. And they're both seniors. Eric's been with us for 2 years, but Celine makes things happen with his legs, and Eric has the leadership that makes it happen with his mind and with his knowledge of the game. So they both feed off each other. If one is a little banged up because they both are defensive starters, if one's a little banged up, a little exhausted, the other one will come right in and plug right in. So it's working great for us. Well, like I said earlier, even before the season started, we would have some character building tests. And I think even though we didn't come up on the winning side of all those games, we came up passing those tests because right now we're playing very well.
Yeah, by the shirt and going to be thrown down.
We have a lot of people playing well. If I'd go in certain sections. If I was the line, I would say Sam Fatai, Nico Fatai is playing very well, and he's given us a stable play as a D tackle that we haven't had in years. And if we go linebackers, all those guys are playing well. But I'd point to the seniors, Celine Stevens. Eric is playing well at defensive end. In the secondary, it's just a well-rounded effort. We moved Echema from linebacker to safety, and he can average 10 tackles a game for you. So, everyone in their department is taking a leadership role.
Well, as seniors, we've already told this team that we're basically a military unit. And every time one person does a stupid penalty like clipping or whatnot, it's like a landmine, you hurt the whole unit. So we tell everybody, play with their head, play smart. If you do what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to execute. There's no need of any stupid penalties, and just keep your head up. Penalties might hurt us, but in the end, we'll still come off on top. So just keep doing what we're doing.
Well, as a captain in the defensive end, I feel that it's my job to, set a good example. Just play the way that I've been coached to play, Just follow the plays, do whatever the coaches ask, and, I know we're going to get somewhere.
All we have to do is do what we need to do what we're taught to do what we're coached to do. Don't make any mistakes, and if we do that, nobody can beat us.
In the beginning of the season, we're planning to have the best season. Start off the millennium. We had big goals. We set high standards for our team. The seniors stepped it up. Seniors did their job for this year that the seniors didn't do last year. Lack of leadership. We wanted to have a good season, be successful, and be happy in what we do, and take pride in tradition that has been in Hawthorne for a lot of years. On the feet.
So we're gonna have to keep it hype, real emotional. Gonna have to make sure everybody know what it takes to get this job done. And we gotta keep it known that it's a must-win this week.
1, 2, 3, family!
As you can see, fans, the coaching staff and players obviously excited about tonight's contest. They, of course, wanting to avenge last year's 46-15 defeat, which they suffered at Hal-Cap Field. So they're coming in with a great deal of intensity and a great deal of emotion. However, not to be outdone, the Leuzinger Olympians are obviously also preparing themselves. They know what's at stake, and they know that the Cougars are on the prowl to avenge last year's defeat, but they're getting ready. Let's go inside their camp and listen to what they had to say.
We usually take care of business pretty well. The games that we've lost, we've shot ourselves in the foot. The games that we've won, we've handled our offense really well.
With the carry, Bro has a convoy down the left side. Touchdown.
The offensive line has done a real good job all season. The running backs and quarterbacks have done a very good job. They block well, they run well. Our offense isn't geared to pass. We pass to keep people, to move people off the line of scrimmage. We pass because everyone's on the line of scrimmage. Our pass game has nothing to do with the success of our offense. It is to just set up our run. We're going to throw once a half, maybe once a quarter, but our pass game has no effect on how our offense is successful or not. We made some scheme adjustments. We made some personnel adjustments. I mean, you look at La Mirada, they're undefeated. You look at Los Alamitos, they've lost one. I mean, we've battled some good teams early in the season. They're known for high-powered offense, both of those schools. And, I mean, we're not the only people that they've scored points on. So we just made a few adjustments, nothing too major, and we've just picked up our game. Your goal going into every season is to be better than you were the day before, and I think we've done that, obviously offensively and defensively. So we've just kept working and changed a few things, but I'm satisfied with defense right now.
We had a little rough season from the beginning, struggling a little bit, but now we're picking it up together and everybody's standing together as a team and playing hard and running hard. So, that motivates me to give it all I got. We still have a chance to go to the playoffs, and I believe we will. And I feel I could be a good success for our team.
There you go, Dre. We can make it there if we keep on working like we're working. Because we're doing pretty good right now. We just realized that we can't mess around anymore. So we just started working harder, and we got it.
These last 2 weeks, we've been practicing hard, because these last 4 games will determine us to go to the playoffs. And in practice, we've really been picking up all the pieces. Our O-line's been working hard. Our scout teams, our scout Ds, they got to work as hard on offense, so our offense can be ready for every Friday.
Fans, this isn't just a rivalry between two high schools, two neighboring high schools, that is. It's a rivalry between two cities, the city of Lawndale and the city of Hawthorne. Leuzinger being Lawndale's high school, Hawthorne being, of course, the city of Hawthorne's high school. What's at stake is the Mayor's Cup. The mayors of those respective communities are Larry Guidi for the city of Hawthorne, Harold Hoffman for the city of Lawndale. And, of course, at the conclusion of this game, one mayor will have to hand over that trophy to another, or perhaps Harold Hoffman will get to keep it in his possession. It was a great week of rivalry talk. Let's go look at some of the commentary as we build up to tonight's rivalry game.
Unlike everyone else that we play, that we have a speed advantage. Leuzinger, you probably don't have that great of a speed advantage. They're probably just as fast as we are. So we're going to try to run at them a little bit, run around them a little bit, and create some matchups, throw that ball around, see how good they can cover us.
It's going to be one of the most intense Hawthorne-Leuzinger games that we've had since I've been here anyways, because it's playoff implications. We both have the exact same record in league. We both know it's a must-win situation for both programs. you know, one program stays alive for the playoffs, the other plays out the last week of the season and are out of the playoffs. So, you know, that's huge. It's not only a huge rivalry, but for the season itself, it's the biggest Hawthorne-Leuzinger game in a long while.
I can't really think of a word to describe the emotions we have. All the seniors, I know we've been looking back since our freshman year. We knew this day would come where it would be our last chance to show Leuzinger, crosstown rivals, who's really the best in Hawthorne/Lawndale. And this Friday, I think we have a point to prove. I mean, the papers, they rank Leuzinger above us, give us no respect. We come and take our respect.
Everybody is very, very motivated and ready to play this game, you know. They've been waiting for this game ever since, believe it or not, our freshman year, you know, our big senior year to play. And everybody to play, you know, our last game of the season pretty much. But as we go into this game playing Hawthorne, you know, a lot of our friends are over there and everything, and a lot of, you know, talking back and forth and everything. But by us playing together as a team for Leuzinger, we're just going to give it all we got and show them what Leuzinger is about.
I hope we can drive the ball. I'm pretty sure we can drive the ball. I want to drive the ball, keep the defense on the field as long as possible, so our defense will get a rest and their defense get tired. Because we work hard, we run all day long. We have the endurance to play all day long both ways. So I hope our offense gets to keep the defense on the field for a long time, tire them out to where they want to give up. Just let us score. But there's, you know, nobody's gonna lay down for us.
It's a big rivalry. They've been playing for how long, how many years, you know. And this rival game is big. Not only it's a rival game, but this game will determine us whether who goes to the playoffs or not. You know, it's a big game. You know, we can't take Hawthorne lightly, not at all. But you know, we'll be ready. We just got to practice hard, hang in there, listen to Coach Witt, do as we're told, and come out with the victory, and we'll have the bragging rights.
Oh, of course we want that Mayor's Cup. We just want to play hard, leave everything on the field, give everything we got, and hold nothing back. That's the best we can do.
Just a big rival, and we have to win. It's our last year playing them. We have to win.
This means everything to me. This is what football is all about. This is rivalry. Those are the best games that have ever been played. They're the rivalries, cross-town rivalries. You know, the Mayor's Cup, everything about pride. It's undescribable. It's the best thing in the world. I wouldn't be anywhere else.
When it's all said and done, fans, I think Lamar Keeble said it best. You wouldn't want to be anyplace else tonight except right here at Leuzinger High School on Olympian Field for the Mayor's Cup 2000, the Millennium Edition, as these crosstown rivals go at it one more time, tooth and nail. It's guaranteed to be a dogfight, and Channel 22 is going to bring you all the action. Stay right where you are, and we'll have the opening kickoff in just a moment. All right, fans, good evening. Welcome to another exciting Channel 22 sports presentation. I'm Rufus Washington along with Dave Marks. Let's go right down to the field now as our official conducts the coin toss.
Okay, White wants the football. You want to kick it to which end? You want to kick to the clock? White, you're right there.
Hawthorne won the toss, as you can see. One of their captains, Kingsley Etchema, made the call indicating that they wish to receive. So Leuzinger will kick off to get this 2000 edition of the Mayor's Cup underway. Let me take a moment while we have the time now to again introduce myself. I'm Rufus Washington, joined by Dave Marks. Dave, tonight's contest has in fact, this is, in essence, a playoff game for both of these teams because the loser is essentially done for the year.
Rufus, I think you hit it straight on the head as far as how important this ball game is tonight. No matter what the situation, whenever these two schools play, it is a rivalry, whether they play in baseball, football, basketball, soccer, or water polo. I don't think they play water polo, but if they did, it would be a rivalry. However, this year in football, it has an extra meaning because of the fact that all you have to do is take a look at the Bay League standings. There is a three-way tie for third place between Hawthorne, Leuzinger, and Redondo Union in the league. All three of those schools are 3-2 in the Bay League. So this game carries a lot of weight tonight with just one more week to go. And the winner of this game will not be guaranteed a playoff berth, but the winner will take a very giant step toward that. The loser will not be guaranteed of elimination, but the loser will definitely put themselves in a hole. So, Rufus, it's more than just the Mayor's Cup that's on the line here tonight, and we have excellent weather, excellent football weather here on the 3rd day of November on a Friday night.
And you're exactly right, David. It is a beautiful evening for football today. This promises to be a very, very exciting game. Let's talk about the officiating crew, which will have a bigger than normal task, because anytime you've got rivals going at it, the emotion's going to be just a little bit higher. So this crew is going to have to be on top of the game. I had a chance to talk to him earlier. The referee for tonight's contest is Frank Johnson. Umpire, David Batnock. The back judge, Grady Mack. The head linesman, Ronnie Brooks. And the line judge will be Glenn Hicks. Those 5 gentlemen have their work cut out for them tonight. And we're just about ready for tonight's opening kickoff. Fans have already filled the stadium on the Leuzinger side. Hawthorne fans still coming in.
Well, we were going to take a look at the Bay League standings that we were telling you about, and you'll see when we do get them up there just how tight this league it really is. Peninsula, who won it last year, they lost to Leuzinger last week, and Redondo lost to Hawthorne, and both of those games were on the road for Leuzinger and Peninsula. So first place is at stake tonight, second place playoff positions at stake, and this one is underway.
There's the kick handled by one of the upbacks, number 15, and he's going to be brought down at the 30-yard line. So from their own 30, it will be 1st and 10 for the Hawthorne Cougars as they move from a easterly to westerly direction.
Well, what you're going to see from Hawthorne tonight, basically, if they start Salim Stevens at the quarterback, Lamar Keeble and Kingsley Etchema will be in the backfield. They have a little change at receiver. Courtney Barton, Monroe Alexander, and Thomas Broussard will be the receivers. They are going to try to mix it up, combination of run and the pass. When they keep it on the ground, you can look for Lamar Keeble to get most of the carries, and that is how they will stack up with the offense.
Stevens pitches it back to number 24, the feature back in their running attack, doing a lot of ducking and dodging, all for naught as he loses a yard on the play. That's Lamar Keeble, one of the leading rushers in the South Bay, David. Lamar comes into tonight's contest with a gaudy 10.83 yard per carry average with 444 yards on 41 carries.
Yes, he is the feature back, of course, as they're going to get set back by a clip. And that's not a good sign on their first offensive play. Their head coach, James Swain, who comes out of the military, comes out of the Marine Corps earlier in the year, took this team into a special boot camp to try to work these kind of penalties and mistakes out of them. Leuzinger, on the other hand, when you look at their offense, when they get the ball, they are a running back by committee sort of offense, and they don't make that many mistakes. Although Hawthorne does have a good feature back in Lamar Keeble, they cannot afford to, as we say every week, shoot themselves in the foot by committing those sort of penalties. But however, on that first run play, Grant Roberts from Leuzinger was ready for it.
So the penalty will make it a 1st and 25 now for the Cougars. Here's a little flare out in the flat, and that's going to be snuffed out for no gain on the play. May even have lost a yard on that one. The original line of scrimmage was at the 30. Now the line of scrimmage is back down near the 11-yard line. So a somewhat inauspicious start for the Cougars tonight, Dave.
And for the Leuzinger Olympians, as you take a look at the head coach, Mike Witt, they pitched a shutout 2 weeks ago against Culver City. And, of course, they held Peninsula to just 3 points in a big ball game victory at Peninsula. So their defense has been on the rise.
Steven drops back the pass under heavy pursuit, gets away from the initial contact, still on his feet. Finally is going to be taken down on a nice ankle tackle there by number 54 for the Leuzinger Olympians. Excellent defense applied there by the Olympians.
Andre Rochelle got the tackle, and we mentioned that the Leuzinger Olympians started out the year bad in terms of giving up a lot of points in the secondary. Well, they are a tough team to basically run against. Last week in the win against Peninsula, they were not tested that much in the air, although they did pick up a key interception that was run back for a touchdown by David Guerin.
Makes it a 3rd and a whole lot right now, Dave. Over 3rd and 20. They need to get out to the 40 for the first down. They do a double reverse flea flicker. Doesn't fool anybody on the Leuzinger defensive line there. As you see a host of Olympians in there again. And it's going to bring up a 4th down, obvious punting situation. So Leuzinger defense does the job, aided by a penalty there on the first drive against the Cougars.
Yes, they brought in senior Eric Mawalo there to QB. He handed off to Kingsley Etchema, and number 10, Daniel Philpott, the wide receiver, coming around from the end to take it. But strong stand for the Leuzinger Olympians, and it's going to bring Courtney Barton back into punt formation for the Hawthorne Cougars, halfway at 5 yards deep in his end zone.
Lalure back to receive the punt. It's going to be a terribly short punt, and it takes an Olympian bounce. They need to down it right now. Well, they try to eke out another inch. In fact, Leuzinger will get the ball at the 25-yard line. So technically speaking, considering that the line of scrimmage was at 30, it's a negative 5-yard punt.
And it puts the Leuzinger Olympians in big business and pretty much almost guarantees that the way their offensive running attack has been going, that they are going to go in for a score on this first drive. Take a look at their offense. Of course, David Guerin is their quarterback. Ronnie Bro and Elias Ellis will start in the backfield. And we'll get their line for you in a second, as they have always a tight wing tee.
There's the pitch back to Lalure. Lalure has running room. Gets about 10 on the first down to about the 15-yard line. Leuzinger has, Dave, what I call the Medusa backfield. It's not a 7-headed monster, but it is a 4-headed one. And between their top 4 running backs, they've picked up over 2,500 yards on 338 carries at 7.5 yards a carry. As you see here on the replay, Lalure picking up 10 on that one. Back to live action. Lillard no gain on that play.
So George Cooley brought down. As you take a look at their offensive line, David Avalos and Victor McClendon are the guards. Willie Reynolds, Grant Roberts, and Ellis Vernon on the line. And, well, when they do throw the ball, they will throw it to Grant Roberts, Andre Rochelle, sometimes Jerome Avula. That is when they throw the ball, which is rare, as they've got a 3rd and 1 right here.
Great opportunity for the Olympians. They look at Lalure with the carry. Lalure has the first down, still going up the middle, gets down inside the 5-yard line. Looks like they're going to spot it at about the 3, maybe the 4, where it's going to be 1st and goal for the Olympians. Here in the first quarter, we got 8:19 left, and the Olympians are knocking at the door, as you see here on the replay. Lalure with the carry.
Well, what's that word you said, medulla? Or
Medusa.
Medusa, okay. Although they are a Medusa, it is Mafua Leula who has come to the fore.
And here's Victor McClendon with the 3-yard touchdown run. That's the second of the 4-headed Medusa. So we saw 2 of them on that drive, Dave. We saw Victor McClendon get the easy part of it. Lalure carried the heavy load as he got him down inside the 5, and McClendon took it on home.
Well, they made it look easy. We said when the drive started, starting at about the 30-yard line, the way Leuzinger runs the ball, it's almost a guarantee. And for the Hawthorne coaching staff, they've got to be saying just how one play, a clip on your first run from scrimmage, can set the tone for what's happened in the first 4 minutes of this ball game.
Leuzinger, as they've done all season, will eschew the kick and will instead go for the 2-point conversion. But before they do that, we've got a flag on the play.
And so they'll just inch it a little bit closer to the goal line.
Referee Frank Johnson indicates that that penalty is against the Cougars, offsides. Be a half the distance to the goal. Makes a chip shot even chippier. And we've got another flag on the play.
I think the offensive line moved. This time it's going to be on the offense. It looked like a late flag came in after all was said and done, too. This is a rivalry. These got some of these guys live on the same block. They've gone to the same elementary schools. They know each other, and you're going to see some of that in the crowd here tonight. I guess some alumni as well from both schools will be here.
Well, another penalty against the Cougars instead. You know, when you get down in this territory, now you got a personal foul against the Cougars. So you got a double foul against the Cougars. The ball's already at the 2.5. You take half the distance. The penalty starts to lose some value after a while because there's no more real estate to mark off. There you see a shot of the head coach, Mike Witt.
He is obviously a bodybuilder. Saw that shot of him on the pregame show with his glasses, and I wanted to ask him where his bass was. He's in somebody's rock band. I don't know who, but he plays bass in somebody's band.
Ironically, both of these schools featuring first-year head coaches, Dave.
In the case of Mike Witt, he, of course, a disciple of Don Markham, who's at Rialto. And Don Markham, who really came in and turned this program around last year, got them into the playoffs, got them into the semifinals of Division II, and were perhaps bad field position away from advancing to the Division II finals last year with the Leuzinger Olympians. And, of course, Witt, the disciple of that style of play, has been relatively successful with it this year.
Here we see they finally get the extra point attempt underway. No indication from the official, and the lack of an indication would seem to suggest that the Olympians were unsuccessful on that effort. And now we see the referee's indication that they did not convert the two-point attempt. So at the 8:00 mark of the first quarter, on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, Leuzinger right now on top by a score 6-0.
Well, that two-point conversion took about 5 minutes to do. Yes, they're not going to make it here. So that's a touchdown. You saw McClendon running it just off left side. And that a fairly easy drive for the Leuzinger Olympians. Mafua Leula, George Cooley, and Victor McClendon capping it off. In this Mayor's Cup game, played down here at Rosecrans off of Hawthorne Boulevard. Good fans of both. A lot of LA County Sheriffs here tonight, just as a precaution. But it's a nice, warm, and comfortable night. And as Hawthorne will get the kickoff for the second time,
or rather Leuzinger. Another short kick taken at the 20-yard line. That's Wilson. Doing a little ducking and dodging, has some room. Finally is brought down at the 27-yard line. They're going to mark it. So at the 27-yard line, the Cougars will go on possession for the second time tonight, Dave. And this time, though, they trail by a margin of 6-0.
And this time, of course, they will want to get off a lot better than they did the last time, getting the penalty, the clip on first down, which set their drive way back and, of course, led to the bad punt and the bad field position, which leads to the score. And, of course, their coach, Swain, talks so much about the fact that they cannot make those kind of mistakes. And you see the difference between a running attack that has a big feature back like Hawthorne and a running attack that is running by committee like Leuzinger. Leuzinger, they do get called for the holes in a clip sometime, but they don't seem to shoot themselves in the foot as much as Hawthorne does.
And once again, you see a penalty being assessed against the Cougars. Illegal block below the knees. That backs him up another 15. There's Keeble going around the right side. Keeble picks up a yard, maybe 2 on the carry. So right now, the Cougars, they on their first 2 drives have been severely hampered by penalties here in the first quarter.
Well, on this first carry here for Keeble, he tries to get to the outside, but nothing doing for the Leuzinger defense, who has come up very big in the last couple of weeks, particularly against the run. Now, the coaching staff for Hawthorne feels that the Leuzinger defense may not have been as tested against the pass. Mentioned in their victory last week over Peninsula, which was very impressive, being that it was at Peninsula. Peninsula is not a big passing team. So it's just a matter of time before we see Salim Stevens maybe try to go to the air.
Once again, they keep it on the ground, and once again, it's going to be a very short gain on the play. It's going to bring up a 3rd and a mile for the Cougars.
About 3rd and about 8 or so as Billy Mitchell carried that time. Well, now you're in a situation where they know you'd prefer to pass, so a team like Leuzinger can take a couple of chances on defense. Maybe elect to send somebody in. Mike Witt wants to make sure they know what the situation is.
Ball spotted at the 13. They need to get to the 21. Stevens drops back the pass. looks over the middle, throws over the middle, throws it too high for his intended receiver, and a lick was laid on him by number 3, Ronnie Bro.
Well, the impressive thing that time is Salim Stevens did have time, as Leuzinger only rushed 4 people. So the strategy there was to do coverage on the out pattern, and that means when you're only rushing 4, you've got 7 guys back there and a quarterback trying to pick out 1 or 2 targets. Stevens not able to do it. So it's 3 and out for Hawthorne on their second series, and Courtney Barton will be punting it again.
Once again, Lalua back to receive the punt. This is a much better kick. Lalua having to drop back, instead has to let it go. Now this time it does take a pretty decent Cougar bounce, but we have a flag on the play, and we don't know whether that's part acting by the kicker for the Cougars, but let's see what the indication is, and the indication is that it is a violation for running into the punter.
Well, Courtney Barton is the punter, and he stayed down there for a while. Now, I don't know if this is a rushing the kicker or a roughing, but it is going to give them a first down and a break for the Hawthorne Cougars.
Well, they give them the big 15 on this one, Dave, so this was a roughing. That's a call, as we saw from referee Frank Johnson. So the Cougars get a fortuitous break. They keep possession, and it comes out to their own 30-yard line. Steven drops back to pass, looks over to the sideline. Now he scrambles out, goes back across the middle, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. That was Monroe Alexander, and nearly intercepted by the defensive backfield of the Olympians.
Well, what you're seeing again, they only rushed 4 people. That means there's 7 people back in pass coverage for the Olympians. And one problem I've seen with Stevens on these first 2 pass attempts is he tends to look at one person. If you're going to pass like that, you need a safety valve. They're only rushing 4 people, so you don't have to really keep a back in the block. You need to get somebody open on the flat. Got to have a second option. Might expect to see a draw.
On this side, Barton on the other side. They pitch it back to Keeble, and Keeble is going to be stopped just as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. So nothing doing on that play for the Cougars. Makes it another 3rd and 10 for them.
And at the 6:25 mark of quarter number 1, I'd say the Hawthorne Cougars have about a -2 rushing, as you see some of the Leuzinger pep squad.
Don't need to tell you again, fans, that a lot of things are at stake. Chief amongst which are bragging rights between these 2 schools, a playoff spot, and the Mayor's Cup. Steven lays it up short, and that one's going to be, was nearly intercepted. Lucky that it didn't get intercepted, because that would have been another 6 for the Olympians, but instead it'll bring up 4th down.
Well, I'm wondering, as he intended that one for Broussard, if Broussard did a down and a cross, because they rolled Stevens out that time. But again, the inability to have a second option hurts him. Only rushing 4 people, and they've got to try to thread that pass in amongst 7 defenders. And so Courtney Barton out punting for the 3rd time in this first quarter.
This time Barton's punt gets away. Lewis steps away from it. Good special teams coverage by the Cougars as they down it at about the 27-yard line. Let's call it the 27, fans, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians with 5:46 left here in the first quarter. Olympians lead by a score of 6-0 on the Leuzinger High School Network, Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
These fans are serious here tonight. Before the ball game, they had an armored car from Hawthorne. I guess you saw this, Rufus, after the pregame show when you were down on the field. The armored car from Hawthorne came in carrying the Mayor's Cup. And when these Leuzinger fans saw that car from Hawthorne come in, they booed it roundly. I thought they were going to get ready to throw things at it.
Of course, in part because Mayor Larry Guidi was a passenger in that vehicle. Here you see Ronnie Bro on the carry. So far we've seen 3/4 of the Medusa, Only one we haven't seen yet is number 11, Elias.
Well, and some of you geometry students out there, parallelograms, quadrills, or tetragrams, or something like that. All of that kind of interesting stuff.
Leluer with the carry. Leluer takes on one tackler, head up, man. He took on Terrell Wilson, straight up, and Terrell Wilson got the short end of that deal.
Well, as he said, he did get the short end of that deal, Wilson, and the defense for Hawthorne, everybody in the box, no surprise, and comes close to breaking this one. I mean, if it's not for the fact that they do go helmet to helmet, he's gone.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Olympians. Ball out at the 47, and Wilson's will stop the play, which is a pretty good clue that this one will go against the Olympians.
Well, I'm wondering if Hawthorne didn't encroach here, because the last time they looked like they were very eager to get into those lanes. And yeah, it is going to be offside. They know that they've got to cover things up quickly. And the play before this, it looked like they may have jumped offside, trying to get into the lanes quickly. This time they do step across, and at the 4:45 mark, they give up 5 yards of field, and the Leuzinger Olympians keep it on the ground.
So it makes it a 1st down and 5, and I'll get back to that rules point in just a second, fans. But ball now in Hawthorne territory. Here's the pitch back to Bro. Bro hits the middle. Bro picks up a 1st down on the play as he gets it down to the 40. And I guess the point I was going to make, again, at the college and professional level, of course, if the penalty is against the defense, the play gets to go. Here, apparently, at the interscholastic high school level, line penalties against the defense cause the play to be blown dead. But nonetheless, the Olympians have a 1st down at the Cougar 40-yard line here at the 4:30 mark of the 1st quarter. Olympians on the prowl again. Cougars show blitz, and the blitz pays off for them as they're able to stop it for no gain on that play.
Well, the Hawthorne defense on the line, defensive tackles Dwayne Smith and Nico Fati, Eric Mwala and Tolu Mwala, his younger brother, are at the defensive ends. At the linebacker position, they have 3 linebackers, Salim Stevens, Momo Biamuonga, and Billy Mitchell. And in the defensive backfield, at the safeties, Kingsley Etchema, Courtney Barton, and at the corner positions, who you've seen up quite a bit tonight, Terrell Wilson and Elgin Simmons.
Another stoppage of play as you hear the officials' whistles. I won't even hazard a guess this time, fans. We'll wait to see what our referee, Frank Johnson, indicates.
This time it's false start.
Indication is that it's going to back the Olympians up 5 yards. It's going to take them back outside the 45-yard line. They'll need to get to the 30-yard line to pick up the 1st down. So it makes it a 2nd and 15 for the Olympians.
And it's their first offensive penalty of the night. The other penalty was in the roughing the kicker call. But the way they run the ball, they do not have too much to fret at this point. But they're going to go to the air.
One of their rear passes. Oh! A wide open Victor McClendon gets hit in the hands, and boy, he'll think about that one for a long, 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 long time.
Well, he's had enough of them on the ground to make up for it, but this is not a VCR moment right here for Victor McClendon. Of course, you don't expect the team Leuzinger to really pass, although that's a situation where they could do it in. And there is nobody between him and the end zone. Guerin lays it right in there. And he was just too open.
So, they give it to Leluer, reverse it back to Bro. Bro's going to lose yardage on the play. It's going to bring up a 4th and a very long run. They lost about 2 on that play. Back to midfield. So it's going to be a 4th and about 20 for the Olympians. One would imagine that they'll punt in this situation, although again, the kicking game, not a strong element, to put it politely, in the Leuzinger arsenal.
Eddie Hernandez is the punter, and his failure to convert is as a result of a 5-yard penalty and a dropped what would have been a touchdown.
Hernandez gets away a pretty decent kick, and doesn't look like the Cougars are going to handle it. You got a couple of Cougar players who are none too bright. That ball was bouncing around their feet. You've got to know where the ball is and get away from it, because we do know if it touches you, it's live, and that could lead to a turnover. But they dodge a bullet, and they will take over on downs. At the 2:36 mark, here still in the first quarter, I know it seems like more, our score, Leuzinger 6, the visiting Cougars of Hawthorne 7.
Well, they're showing 3 wide receivers, and they've got a different quarterback now. Eric Mwala, the more experienced senior quarterback, is in, and they've got 2 backs in the backfield.
And of course, they've featured 2 backs all season. Gonna have a flag thrown quickly on the play here. Keeble, as he hit the hole, got it out to the 30-yard line, but this play may be affected negatively for the Cougars by this flag.
And it might be their second clip of the night. It's that first one on the first drive. Resulted basically, this is a holding, led basically to the first score. And so after a decent defensive stand, they set themselves back here.
So every drive tonight, as you hear referee Frank Johnson indicate the call, I can't tell you what a heck of a show that Channel 22 has put on tonight. I mean, and we've got a timeout on the field, which gives us a chance to talk about it. I mean, we've brought out a number of innovations for tonight's contest.
Where's the telestrator?
That's the only one, and it didn't get here on time. Got to talk to the people at FedEx because we ordered it. But we got the parabolic antenna, Joe Shower down there holding net. We had all kinds of graphics. We got the headset working tonight. We got a new camera stand up here. This is the night, and when you got new toys, the game you want to show it at is the Mayor's Cup. And tonight's contest being viewed by the fans of Channel 22. They're being treated, Dave, to a great show.
Where is the Mayor's Cup? Who's holding it?
Mayor's Cup right now is in possession of the Leuzinger Olympians. Harold Hoffman is somewhere in the building. I spoke to Mayor Hoffman earlier, and of course, as you know, Leuzinger won last year by a score of 46-14. So he told me their goal for the night is to keep that cup right here in Lawndale. So, as you indicated, Eric Mwala in at quarterback now. They make the switch here in the first quarter. Mwala hands off to Keeble. It seemed to me if that's what you're going to do every play, doesn't matter who's back there.
Well, Leuzinger's had the answer for it tonight, but somehow, some way, they're going to have to get their running game, particularly Lamar Keeble, into this ball game. Maybe they consider going to Etchema a couple of times, just trying to switch things up, but if Hawthorne is going to have any sort of chance, they do have a more balanced attack between the run and the pass, but if their pass is going to be effective at all, they're going to have to get something off on the running game, which they haven't been able to do so far.
Once again, they keep it on the ground. This is Keeble. Keeble, one of the leading rushers in the Bay League, but not able to get untracked here in the first quarter, Dave.
And they keep trying that right side. Why not try the left side? Try going off tackle, perhaps. Be a little unpredictable. Right here, it's third down, and looks like about 21 or 22. Actually make it about a third and 17 with 1:40 to go, and now almost a sure passing situation.
Keeble came in with 444 yards on 41 carries. He's had a handful of carries tonight, and thus far not very much success. So Mwala dropping back the pass. Mwala looks over the middle, hits his intended receiver. They complete the pass. Now the question is, do they get the first down? Yes, they do, as they get it up to about the 40-yard line. That was Terrell Wilson that Mwala hit on the right side, and their first big play of the game.
Well, this pass play toward the sideline as opposed to over the middle, and it appears that the more experienced Eric Mwala was able to pick it out, right spot. Had him open, before they're able to get there on the coverage. And he gets the extra real estate. Ronnie Bro got there late.
Got to give Wilson a lot of credit on that. This time they give it back to Keeble, thinking they've softened up the Leuzinger line a little bit with that completion, and perhaps they have, as they pick up about 3 on that carry.
Now it'll be interesting to see, now that they were successful on that first pass, if in passing situations the Leuzinger defense goes to the blitz or tries to send a couple more people in. Basically, to this point, they'd only been rushing 4 people, dropping everyone back into coverage. Let's see if they'll mix things up a little bit.
40 seconds left here in the first quarter. Hawthorne Cougars with their best drive of the contest so far on their 3rd possession. Keeble this time has stopped at the line of scrimmage, so it's going to bring up a 3rd and 5 for the Cougars now.
And of course, talking about mixing things up, Mike Witt, the head coach of Leuzinger, only one assistant, Jamal Dismuke, as his one assistant, whereas the Hawthorne Cougars, they've got about 10 assistant coaches. This first quarter coming to an end, they may not get the playoff.
And I don't think they will. So, after 1 quarter, our score, as you see the side judge and the back judge step in to indicate that the clock has expired on our first 12 minutes. And after 12 minutes, as you can see, Leuzinger at home has won the first quarter of the Mayor's Cup as they lead by a score of 6-0. 3 more quarters to go though, folks, so stay right where you are on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
Well, the Hawthorne Cougars with a little bit of life on this particular drive. The big pass going from Walla. Walla with a big pass.
Well, they showed some life, Dave. However, right now they've got a big challenge in front of them. It's a 3rd down play coming up, a 3rd and 3.
I think it's just amazing. These teams come in here with identical records overall. Overall, both of these teams are 4-4. In the Bay League, they're 3-2. And both of them come off of very impressive road victories last week, where their defenses were outstanding.
So the Cougars reverse direction. They send a man in motion in the slot. They're going deep, and he's got a shot at it. The reception is made by number 10. Great throw, great catch. Great execution there by the Olympians. That was Daniel Philpott, the senior, with that reception.
Well, James Swain, you talked to head coach James Swain before the ball game. He knows that this Leuzinger Olympians defense plays very well against the run, but he questions what will happen when they come up against a team that is able to throw the pass. Well, that time you see Ronnie Bro totally turned around, and that opens Philpott, and he's able to make the big catch, and it puts Hawthorne in big business. He feels that this Leuzinger Olympians defense is vulnerable to the long pass.
Hawthorne at the 18-yard line, the Olympians. There's a pitch back to Keeble. He goes left, cuts it back up. Keeble still on his feet. Keeble picks up about 4 on the carry. Keeble starting to get on track now. Took him a couple of carries to get his rhythm, and running backs sometimes are like that. You know, some of the great ones, it take them 10, 15 carries. That's why they beg for 20, 25 carries. Ricky Waters being one of those type running backs, man. His first 2 or 3 may go for naught, but once he finds the rhythm and can tell what the defense is doing, things start to happen for him. Looks like that's what's happening with Lamar Keeble.
Well, also, Rufus, they've given the Leuzinger secondary something to think about. They can't come up and cheat now and try to stop him.
So it's
Ronnie Bro has got to guard his man.
Excuse me, 2nd down and 5. This time they keep it on the ground. It's not Keeble with the carry, it's actually Kingsley Etchema. Haven't we been calling this Etchema name
Yes, we
for
saw
who
his
knows
brother.
how long now?
2 years ago, his brother Joe Etchema, who's now playing college football successfully at a Division I program.
That's it. Stanford or Cal? I know
think
he
it's
went to
Cal.
one in Northern. Okay.
And Kingsley Etchema, of course, is a captain, along with Lamar Keeble.
So it's a 3rd and 5 now for the Cougars. Their best scoring opportunity of the night coming here as we open 2nd quarter action. This time they line up in an I formation. fake it to the second man through. The quarterback keeps it. He goes around the left side. It's going to be a little short of the first down. That was Stevens, so.
Andre Rochelle kept the pursuit right down the line. As he comes up to deny him the first down, he gets short yardage, and in this situation, I'd say they're probably going for it.
I think that's a safe bet, Dave. You've got
be about a 29-yard field goal attempt, I would guess, if they tried to kick it. Courtney Barton is the place kicker.
Of course, all the indications by both the scoreboard and the yard marker are that it's third down. Our count had it as being a fourth down.
Well, we'll get it straight. As it look like they're going to start marking something off. Maybe we had a flag come in. Yes, a personal foul against Leuzinger.
Okay, well, that's going to result in an automatic first down.
After the technical difficulties, the Cougars are pressing with 3rd and 2 at the Olympian.
So the personal foul going to make it a 1st and goal on the 5. Hawthorne Cougars threatening to tie this Mayor's Cup up, which leads to the very interesting question: what happens if the game ends in a tie? Do they get half the cup?
Well, that is a good question. We've never had to confront it before. I would suspect that we won't have to confront it tonight, but let's see what happens here. 1st and goal from the 5. Mitchell with the carry. This time they showed the Olympians a little something different. Of course, they know the Olympians are expecting Keeble to make the carry. This time Mitchell carries it, and he gets down closer to the end line.
Second about in a yard and a half or so for the tying TD at the 9:15 mark of quarter number 2.
Stevens, the quarterback.
And Salim Stevens in there for Moala.
Once again. And touchdown on the carry. Pete Naha. Pete Naha with the touchdown for the Cougars. So the Cougars there, a part of their strategy once they got down close was to use Keeble as the decoy, and they gave it to everybody but Keeble once they got down inside the 10-yard line, Dave.
Naha, who normally starts on the defensive line for the Cougars, going in a la the refrigerator or the microwave and scoring the tying touchdown, and now this extra point is big, and it's so big that they're going to have to take a timeout to decide what they're going to do.
Didn't have quite the alignment that they wanted, a bit of confusion there. So they're forced to burn a timeout at the 9:03 mark of the second quarter. They, having just scored a touchdown, courtesy of Pete Naha on the 1.5-yard run. Right now, our score is tied 6-6, but the Hawthorne extra point is still to come.
Well, in the league right now, we told you how tight things were. 3 teams at 3 and 2, Redondo, Union, Hawthorne, and Leuzinger. There's Naha going in for that score to tie the ball game up. Redondo is at Peninsula. And of course, Mira Costa at Culver City, Beverly Hills at West Torrance. All of those games have some sort of playoff implications. Peninsula and Mira Costa, with Mira Costa in first place at 5-0, Peninsula 4-1, have the best shots. You would almost say that those 2 teams are probably guaranteed playoff spots. The winner here tonight, and also depending on what Redondo Union will do, will have a good chance. The loser will not be eliminated, but it'll be a tougher road. And if you want to try to figure this all out, it's going to be tighter than this election that's coming up in a couple of days, which we hope, Rufus, that all of you will get out there and vote in. We won't tell you who to vote for, we'll just tell you to get out and do it.
Exactly. The kick is up, and it's good. So the Cougars lead by a score now in the second quarter of 7-6 here at Olympian Field.
So right now, Courtney Barton, the man of the hour, he's the one that kicked that ball through to give them the 1-point lead. And those extra point conversions, remember, it took them, we said, almost 5 minutes to do that 2-point conversion, and you had the offside and the penalties when Leuzinger was trying to score, and finally at about the 4th attempt, they were able to stop them. So all of that is important. I mean, we joked about it at the time, but right now, That's important because both of these two teams have had tough defenses the past couple of weeks.
Absolutely. So right now, the Olympians, their offense having been on the sidelines for a while, will be looking to regain the lead here. But first, we got to handle the kickoff duties. Back to receive for the Olympians on the far right, Ronnie Bro. On the left here is Lalua.
7-6 is your score at this moment. Courtesy of that man right there in his right foot. He'll be trying to kick it deep.
Kick is going to go to Lalua. Lalua takes it at about the 10-yard line, goes to the middle, and he gets it out to the 25-yard line. And that's where the Leuzinger offense will go to work at their own 25-yard line. Well, it'll be 1st and 10. Well, right now, they trail by a score of 7-6.
Well, you talk about a game possibly turning on one play. How big is that drop touchdown pass by Victor McClendon right now? Of course, the game far from over. I mean, just halfway through the second quarter, but those are things that add up.
Eventually they do.
If he gets that, you're looking at a possible 14-0 lead.
Of course, David Guerin, the quarterback, keeps it himself, gains perhaps a yard on the play or make it. Now we've got a flag on the play thrown by the back judge.
And a little jawing going on there. Looks like Naha, the one who scored the touchdown, was the one who was doing the jawing with somebody on Leuzinger.
As I said, these officials have a very tough job tonight. That flag's going to go against the Olympians, and they're going to mark off 10 yards. It's certainly going to be a first down. Not a very bright play that time by the Cougars.
And I think it was Naha, the man who scored the touchdown.
So they had the Olympians in a 2nd and long situation. However, they get brain locked, make an unnecessary penalty, or create an unnecessary penalty, and Leuzinger picks up a first. Guerin's pass, intended for Bro, leads him just a little bit too much. So everybody's showing a little something different tonight, Dave.
Yeah, trying to be unpredictable, trying to keep them off balance. And not a bad throw. David Guerin, I think, has improved as a passer as the season has gone on, when you consider that they do not do a lot of it. You know, we berate that point every week. But he looks a lot better tonight than he did the first week we saw him.
Well, 2 passes by Leuzinger in the ball game will definitely qualify as unpredictable. Ball on the ground. That was number 4, McClendon, with the carry for the Olympians. It's going to make it a 3rd and about, they want to call it 6. I think it's more like 5 as they get inside Cougar territory down to about the Cougar 49.
They show the tight wing tee again.
And they show blitz on it. Lalua's going around the right. Lalua turns the corner, but he can't turn it up enough to pick up the first. Now we got yet another flag coming in on the play. So the officials, Dave, right now calling this one very tightly as they seek to maintain control of the game. They aren't letting much get away.
Yeah, you don't want to have a volatile situation on your hand, especially when you consider the crowd factor here tonight. That person obviously a Leuzinger fan. Giving him the big number 1. And as you can see, when you can dress like that on a night like this, these are one of the reasons why Rufus moved from the East Coast.
Well, me and about 5 or 6 million other people over the years. Always fun.
It was warm today, folks.
Our referee, Frank Johnson, is going to come over to the near side here and give us an indication of the call. It's a face mask.
Ball is a face mask against the Cougars.
Against the Olympians, clipping against the Cougars. They offset,
Offsetting penalty.
so you'll replay it down.
Well, he probably pointed because he said face mask against the offense.
Exactly.
And that's not, he probably meant to do it the other way.
And clipping against the defense, which wouldn't be likely, so I think he's going to correct himself now.
Well,
Cleaned it down.
well, his mic is now not working, I guess. So, but nevertheless, they offset, and they're gonna basically the good old do-over.
Okay, so it'll make it. Now we've got another stoppage of play. Right now, down and distance fans, it is a 3rd down and 6 for the Olympians. The indication is to get the clock rolling, and now it is. So we're back to action here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Here's a pitch to McClendon. McClendon doesn't find any running room. He's brought down at the maybe.
Their crowd on the far side of the field has to like this. Of course, they just had to make a little short trip here down to Rosecrans. As their defense, basically, the last 2 possessions coming on up. 8 people, 9 people in the box. And the flame not burning bright for the Olympians at the moment, but it can turn on a dime.
So you got Simeons and Wilson back to receive. There's a kick, not too bad a kick. As kicks go for the Olympians. Olympians need to let it go. That's number 2 for the Olympians, down in the ball. Gambino, you know, would have been wise just to let it roll. Looked like it was taking a Leuzinger bounce. You take every inch you can get. There you see Coach Mike Witt and his one-man assistant crew on the sideline there.
Ramul Dismuke. And if we had a shot on the other side, you see about 10 coaches for the Hawthorne Cougars. When you consider this Hawthorne program that did not make the playoffs last year after making it in '98, they've come way back in one season.
Well, they've come back to 500 tonight trying to get their head above water. Steven pump fakes, goes long, has a receiver, and they're going to indicate that it's incomplete by virtue of being out of bounds, not that they didn't catch it or that Courtney Barton didn't catch it, just that he caught it out of bounds.
Well, Mafua Leola almost step for step with the receiver. Salim Stevens on the throw on the nice pump fake here. And these guys can pass. They do have 2 quarterbacks who are able to pass. Courtney Barton, and they're there one-on-one right with each other, and it's out of bounds. Good defensive play.
Makes it a 2nd down and 10 now.
Stevens gives the ball to Keeble, tries the left side, brought down.
Keeble's brought down.
By Andre Rochelle.
In fact, loses yardage on the play.
Andre Rochelle and Derek Winston get in there for Leuzinger to stop him. So they'll lose the yards.
Line of scrimmage was the 27, drops back. Now placed at the 25-yard line, so it's going to be a 3rd down and 12 for the Cougars. Here with 6:15 left in the first half, Cougars leading the hometown Olympians by a score of 7-6. Stevens under center. Stevens drops back the pass here in the flat. Hits Wilson. Bro makes the tackle, but it is a completion. Brings it out to the 35-yard line.
And had one of those situations where the receivers got to know where the first down marker was. Obviously didn't know it there. Terrell Wilson made the catch, but he needed about 3 more yards. If he goes down 3 more yards and turns, he picks up the first down. But instead it brings up the punt situation here for the Cougars.
Courtney Barton back to punt for the Cougars.
All-purpose back, Lalua back to receive the punt.
Lalua will field the ball at about his 30-yard line.
Lalua lets it go. And it's going to be down inside the 20. just inside the 20-yard line where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians. They've got 5:13 here in the first half, Dave, to right the ship. Right now, you're on the short end of a 7-6 score.
And the last time, of course, the tough defense for Hawthorne. Everybody up in the box stopping the run. And Guerin going to the pass on 1st down, which is a change. Not able to connect, but showing a little bit of versatility. They come out with a tight wing T formation again.
Leilua up the middle. Whoa! Hit right at the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's
they
a tough
say
hit.
That was Dwayne Smith with the hit, Dave.
And he's a defensive tackle, the junior. Been in almost every defensive down this season for Hawthorne.
So it's a 2nd and 5 for the Olympians. Ball spotted at the 25. They need to get to the 30 for the 1st down. Now we got a flag on the play. That'll stop the action. Crowd still sitting on their hands. I mean, they not quite there yet. Of course, the Olympians haven't given them a lot here to cheer about, and they're waiting to break loose.
Well, they haven't been egged on by too much. Of course, we're not sitting on the Hawthorne side where right now they've got to be a lot happier over on the other side of the field than they are. We sit at the Leuzinger Olympian side, and despite the trophy being brought in before the game in the armored car, that's about the only time they've gotten animated. But if this game turns on some sort of spectacular play, you know that will change.
See a couple of the Olympians of yesteryear coming into the stadium, Chaz Foster and Darnell Charles. So, Olympians again keeping it on the ground, not having a lot of success right now, Dave.
So this a passing situation right here.
Certainly no lack of effort from the cheer squad. I think they've got out just about every young lady that could put on a cheerleader uniform tonight. Leilua has some room. Leilua has the 1st down. A big 1st down there by Leilua as he gets it out across the 30-yard line to about the 36.
There's Leilua. I'm figuring that they probably had to have faked the handoff to somebody because you saw the whole defense go after someone else, and there Leilua comes straight through, and he picks up the big 1st down, which could be a momentum builder at the 3:35 mark.
And we just had a parade go by us here. Literally. About 10 fans. I'm not sure what was happening there, shifting positions in the stadium.
Momo Via Moanga pointing out that it is the Leuzinger Olympians who committed the false starts. So last time we were here, we had the homecoming, the king and the queen. And last week we were rained out when there was no rain. We had our meteorologist Tom Strickfaden predicted rain last week.
Cautionary measure taken nonetheless. We got a lot of expensive equipment. Leilua goes around the right side.
I heard Tom was going to be in New York. He was going to have Al Roker's position on the Today Show. That would be something. They're both built about the same size. That man's sweating bullets right now. Seeing his offense.
Continue to have sound difficulties here with some of the in-house equipment. There you see Coach Mike Wood. It's a 2nd down and 14.
2nd and 11 for the Olympians.
What did it call it?
Looks like we got
the house announcer says 11. Board says 14. I think I'll go with the announcer. It looks like 11.
Yeah, a lot of that little stuff going on the line the last few plays. It's this one is going to go against the Cougars. It's all right on that line of scrimmage. Who can control it? It's such a key.
So it's been a penalty-riddled first half, to say the least. We got 2:20 left in the first half. Leuzinger in possession as they trail by a score of 7-6. There's Guerin. Guerin gets across midfield into Cougar territory, lowers the helmet and lays a lick on somebody.
Well, you were wondering a few moments ago when the crowd would get into it, when they saw a play like that from the senior. And you mentioned Shaz Foster being in attendance. Your mind flashes back to what he was able to do last year in that playoff game against Dominguez when he started. He did that all night against the Dominguez Dons in the second round of the playoffs last year.
2 minutes left here in the first half. 1st and 10 for the Olympians. They keep it on the ground. Cooley with the carry. So, Leuzinger now elects to use one of their 2 remaining timeouts here in the first half. At the 1:48 mark, it's going to be 2nd down and 3 for the Olympians as they take a timeout on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
And I believe that is their 2nd timeout, as Hawthorne took one earlier. And as you mentioned, time is definitely the factor here in this situation, trailing by the 1 point. And you've seen some of the hesitation on the line, just freezing the defense for a second, just giving them that little bit of extra step. And they've changed things up, sending Guerin through the middle, sending different people through there. And it's crossed up the Hawthorne defense. They can't tee off the way they had been doing. And for the most part, the Leuzinger defense has been teeing off on Lamar Keeble.
There you see a very intense Mike Wick on the sideline. And Mike's not just intense because tonight's contest is for the Mayor's Cup and a playoff spot and for bragging rights. He'd be intense if they were shooting marbles. There we see a good shot of the Olympian flame. And I was going to note earlier, I thought perhaps there was some technical difficulty. The flame was not lit, and maybe that was the spark that the Olympians need. High pass, 1st down. Guerin exposed his receiver in a way that receivers don't like to be exposed. The big number 35 went up, made the reception. Grant Roberts is his name, brought it down, and he keeps the Leuzinger drive alive.
And he can play tight end, and he also plays left tackle.
All those graphics were built for you this week, fans, by the fine production crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Guerin with the keeper himself. Whole lot of traffic there in the interior of the line. Leuzinger takes another timeout as we're at the 1:19 mark. Coach Witt sensing that clearly this is an opportunity that they would prefer to capitalize on, because judging by first half action, scoring opportunities are going to be hard to come by, Dave.
And you would imagine if they are going to score, it's going to have to be on some sort of a play like that. The last one you saw Guerin taking the pitch to Leula, drawing the defense to the right side and him going up the middle. It's going to be on some sort of play like that. That's what they've been successful on this drive. And the way they usually score, you would expect to see someone from Leuzinger just break off the big one. Don't have too much time to really grind it out with 1:15 to go. And I believe they are out of timeouts.
So it's a 2nd and 7 for the Olympians. Ball is at the 30-yard line, just outside the 30. Guerin drops back the pass, hits Bro with the pass. Bro has some room to work with. Bro picks up the 1st down as he gets down around the 15-yard line. Looks like they're going to spot him at about the 16, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians. We've got an injury timeout taken on the field as big number 71 is down. There you see Bro making the reception, tucks it away.
He took it right off the grass.
And then you have number 18, Terrell Wilson, doesn't mind sticking his nose in there to make the tackle, I tell you.
Well, David Avalos, lineman, offensive lineman, was the one who was shaken up. He's coming off. for Leuzinger. And with 1:10 to go, the big catch and the first down, Leuzinger Olympians trying to regain the lead.
Clock runs. We're at 1:05 and moving here in the first half. Well, Leluo with the room on a semi-busted play, and he scores a touchdown from 15 yards out on the reverse. That was Leluo with the touchdown, Dave.
Well, it looked like 3 people touched that ball, and you figure that was the sort of play they were going to have to score on. They give it to Bro, and Bro gives it to Leula. He gave it to him a little late, but he gets there. Elgin Simmons not able to grab him, and he just hop, skips, and jumps on into the end zone to give Leuzinger the lead with the 2-point conversion upcoming.
This one's going to be a big one for the Olympians. They give it to Bro. Bro get it easily.
Ronnie Bro gets a 2-point conversion, and at the 55-second mark of the half, Hawthorne Cougars get a 14-7 lead.
So, the Olympians on the Leluo and Bro broadcast network put the score now at 14-7 in favor of the Olympians. Shot there of Mayor Harold Hoffman, the current happy possessor of the Mayor's Cup.
And who is it for Hawthorne? Mayor Guidi? Got to know your local politicians here, folks. But 55 seconds to go. What had to impress you about that last Leuzinger drive was the fact that they basically were able to kind of freeze the defense of Hawthorne by going to the fakes and the reverses. And that led to big chunks of yards.
Taken by one of the upbacks at the 30, and the Leuzinger special teams get there to down him. Let's see where they spot it. One official wants to spot it at the 35, another at the 31. They settle on the 35. And so, with 50 seconds left in the first half, the Cougars now trailing by a score of 14-7, as all is right in the minds of the Leuzinger faithful now that they've recaptured the lead.
Hawthorne does have 2 timeouts, and Salim Stevens at quarterback.
And Salim Stevens can't air it out. He drops back the pass, throws it in the flat. They pick up about 3 on the carry if they want this half to continue. Now we've got flags on the play. Looks like that was big number 90, Broussard, who got in a bit of an altercation with one of the Olympians. But let's see what the officials rule on it.
But if it is a big one against Hawthorne, it's going to pretty much nullify any chance that they may have of trying to tie the score before the half.
Everybody now waiting with bated breath to listen to the pronouncements of the referee, Frank Johnson. And here we have him. And it's what the Olympians wanted to hear, what the Cougars did not want to hear. Because as you said, and I think very astutely, Dave, that will just about put the kibosh on first half action, even though there are 39 seconds left.
Now, Rufus, I don't know who's keeping the clock for Leuzinger, but that play did not take 15 seconds. They started it at 50 seconds, and you can't tell me that play took 15 seconds.
Well, that's actually a 39. You
39?
got to know how to read the clock here, and I tell you, it comes with experience. It's not an easy task.
Well, Rufus, that clock says 39. You cannot tell me that play took 11 seconds, Rufus. 11 seconds, you cannot tell me that play took 11 seconds. But there is a timeout on the field. I have seen that done quite a bit. You don't know who could, or you put the finger on the clock or something like that, and they're looking away and they're going, oh. They don't see what the situation is, and that way they're able to get some extra time on the clock, but you never know.
You never know.
You're going to say that little play, that little dink on the sideline took Well, he did stay in bounds, so maybe he did take a. But tell me, how did you become an expert? Are we still on? Oh, if we were still on camera, I wanted to ask you how you became an expert at reading the clock.
Well, trust me, it's just experience. More times of being wrong and finally figuring out. What you got to know is which one of the bulbs are out on the clock. That's why the numbers don't exactly appear what they are. And there's a little bulb that's out in the 9 up there in the right corner. That's what makes it look like a 5.
Well, on our next Lawndale Living show, I'm going to do a special report on that. On broken lights in the scoreboard clock.
So it's a 2nd and 22, they're calling it. There's a pass over the middle. It's dropped. Nice. Well, it looked dropped to me. I'm not sure.
Unless they're going to call it a reception and a fumble. It looked like a little basketball bounce there.
That's a strange one there. Things are getting curiouser and curiouser as we try to wind out the first half. Steven looking deep, running out of time, does a jump pass. Wilson makes the reception at the first down mark, but gets driven back. They're trying to rush up to the line of scrimmage. There are 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and that's going to be the end of the first half. A somewhat schizophrenic first half, if you will, down there in the last 2 minutes.
That's an apt description for it, schizophrenia.
It ends nonetheless with the Olympians on top by a score of 14-7 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. I see Ken Fine all mic'd up down there on the sideline, so I'm sure Ken has something special in store for us. Yeah. So, Dave, how do you assess first half action that has the Olympians leading by a score of 14-7 here in the Mayor's Cup, the Millennium Edition?
You can certainly see the emotions are definitely high, but it's been sort of a chess match. It's been one coach seeing what he could do and the other coach matching it, and losing Olympians had the better of the matches on the last drive, as we're going to go down to the field to Ken Fine.
I'm down here on the field. Hey, I got here a little bit late, but this game is a humdinger, guys. I mean, it's literally a back-and-forth seesaw battle royale. And I'll tell you, let's walk this way a little bit. If you can walk with me and check this scoreboard out. I mean, it is 14-7. It is a killer. First, they went 7-6. Then Leuzinger came back, and they've put it up 14-7. I mean, we're going to have a great time here tonight, so don't go away. We got some great football. I'm going back up to you, Rufus and Dave.
I'm out.
Good tie, Ken.
Okay. Great job there by Ken. Looks like we're going to have the luxury of hearing from the two fine mayors of these neighboring cities, both Mayor Harold Hoffman and Mayor Larry Guidi, all a part of the Mayor's Cup ceremonies here at Olympian Field at Leuzinger High School. Let's go back down. Let's go back down field side with Ken Fine and the two mayors. Ken, take it away.
Hey, here I am. You've been waiting for this. I'm here with the two greatest mayors of the two greatest cities that have fielded these two great teams. I'm going to start with the visiting mayor, and that's Mayor Larry Guidi to my right. And then I've got the home mayor, Mayor Harold Hoffman from Lawndale. And I'll tell you, this is the Mayor's Cup, so we're seeing these two guys. Yeah, they're smiling, but they're hoping their team's winning. So I'm going to kind of ask you, both of you, kind of to give me a little bit of history, and if you feel like throwing it in, give me a little bit of history of how this thing got started. Who wants to start?
Yeah, I got the age, that's for sure. we got the team too. Okay, we've Larry and I got together about 3 years ago. We decided we ought to have a Mayor's Cup, and it's created a lot.
Give me 1 second. We're going to move just a little bit to the left here. Okay, we'll get right back here to the mayor.
We, Larry and I got together, Mayor Guidi and I got together about 3 years ago. We decided we could create some interest with these kids. And, you know, they're all our kids, and they're doing a great job tonight. And we make a lot to do with it. The kids get a big bang out of the two mayors having an argument over the success of their team. But it isn't an argument between Larry and I. I'm sure that both of us are rooting for both teams. I, of course, want Leuzinger to win. Larry wants Hawthorne to win. It's natural, but we want to give the kids the credit. They're the ones that are they're the ones that are playing ball tonight, and there's some good hitting.
There we are. We're going to step a little bit more. The mayor's getting the flick. But I'd like to find out how many years, Mayor Guidi, have we been doing this, and who's ahead right now?
Well, you know, it's funny. Harold talks, and there's no band and no flags behind him. So you can see who he favors. Harold and I have been talking about this off and on for the last 8 years. We built a relationship when I was first elected. He adopted me as his son of Hawthorne. So it's kind of worked out. We came up with an idea because we wanted to do something for the kids. As Harold said, we're here for the kids. We did the Olympic walk, run together. We do a lot of stuff. Harold's a great mayor, and he loves these kids. And we wanted to come up with a trophy to show we believe in you. And this is not really about who wins, who loses. It's the fun of it. It's like when I drove up, the crowd only saw a red jacket, and they were clapping and cheering for me. And then I turned around. So everybody's into this. It's a lot of fun. And right now, Harold's ahead by 7 points, but that's, you know, it's not over till it's over.
Well, who's had the Mayor's Cup the most in the seasons that we've had it so far?
Hawthorne, of course.
and who knows when that's going to change. Hey, I heard there was somebody that had donated a shirt of some sort, and I'd like to get that shown here for the Mayor's Cup.
These t-shirts were donated by H&C Disposal in the city of Hawthorne, and we wanted to do something special this year to see if we could spark something for next year, because we really want the communities involved, both communities, because Lawndale and Hawthorne has a great relationship. So these were donated by H&C Disposal, which Matt Bagdasarian is alumni of Leuzinger, and he donated them in the memory of his father, Hyant Bagdasarian, who died last month. And on the back, what we wanted to do is also list both teams to show that there's the team here between the mayors and the coaches.
Well, I'll have to say, you know, I've been in front of both of you at council meetings. I've never been between you, but you're two of the most nice gentlemen, and I love to see you right here duking it out for the game and for your team. And I'll tell you, right now it looks like Mayor Hoffman is at the point of a little bit ahead. I know he's hoping for his team. What can you say for your team and from this point on?
I can say that they are playing good ball. Both teams are playing good ball. These kids have put 110% into it, and that's all we're asking, to play their best. And you know, there's been a couple called personal fouls, but that's going to happen in football. So these kids have done a tremendous job for the first half, and I expect them to do a tremendous job in the second half.
Well, I'll tell you, this has been a great interview here with you two mayors, Mayor Larry Guidi and Mayor Harold Hoffman. And I'll tell you, it looked like a conspiracy to me, that flag almost hitting Larry Guidi in the head there from the mayor. But I'd like to throw it back to you, Rufus and Dave.
Great. And once again, fans, the very best sideline reporter in the business today. Can't find with the mayors of those two great cities, Larry Guidi and Harold Hoffman, of here in Lawndale. And for everybody at Lawndale's Cable Channel 22, we're going to let you enjoy the rest of the first half festivities, and we'll join you in the second half in just a few moments. All right, fans, we're back for second half action on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 and this 2000 edition of the Mayor's Cup between the Leuzinger Olympians and the Hawthorne Cougars. Our score at halftime stands: Leuzinger 14, the Cougars of Hawthorne making the short trip across town 7. With everything at stake, Dave, this game has been played just about true to form. It's been close, it's been tight, and there have been lots of penalties.
It's been played like a chess match. One team gets an edge, the other coach does something to counter it. As the half ended, it was Leuzinger that seemed to have the edge, scoring the touchdown right before the end of the half, and they did it by mixing up the pass, by stalling the Cougar defense and not allowing them to come in and tee off on the running game.
And they will get the opening kickoff. Looks like, well, Bro takes it. He and Lelua were together, and Bro gets it out across the 20 before he's finally brought down by the Cougar special teams. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians here. Gives us a chance while the teams take the field to talk a little more about first half action.
Well, in the first half, because of the tightness of the game and because of the importance of a game like this, there were a lot of personal fouls, little chippy kind of penalties called, and that's something that you hope you don't really see in the second half. You want to see some good football, but this is going to be an important defensive stand for the Hawthorne Cougars. Last time the Olympians had the ball, as you see David Guerin at quarterback, they were able to go to reverses. As you see Hawthorne went in to come up the middle.
Guerin keeps it himself. Again, Cougars show blitz, fall out of it. Olympians themselves added a little something special to their attack. Threw the ball a couple of times there. We don't have our halftime stats just yet, but I can recall that they put the ball in the air at least 3 or 4 times. Of course, the one that will always be remembered in the history of this game, no doubt, will be the drop pass by Victor McClendon. So far, it hasn't haunted the Cougars. This is Lelua with the carry. Gets it out across the 25-yard line. They need to get to about the 32 for a first down, so it's going to be a good 3rd down, and, well, given the spot, makes it a 3rd and 4.
On defense for Hawthorne on the line, Dwayne Smith, Nico Fatai. Defensive tackles, the ends, Eric Moala and Tulo Moala. Being asked to stop on this 3rd down play.
This is Bro, and Bro's going to be stopped short of the first down. Gang tackling there by the Cougars. Everybody that's up on the front 6 for them in on that play.
Well, that time on this first possession, unlike the last possession of the first half, not too much trickery, not too much deception, just straight ahead running. And how about this? Ball on the 30-yard line. Early in the 3rd quarter, they're going to go for it on 4th and 1.
Well, we'll have to see them go for it first. This would be a bit of an interesting call. I'm not sure you want to burn. Well, they elect to burn the timeout here with 10 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. I understand if you draw them offside, that's one thing, but to burn the timeout so early is a different thing.
Well, the fact that they have the lead, I guess, makes it a little more palatable, but of course it's a situation where you got to make it a big gamble. So much time to go.
Well, I think the intent, David, as most fans would know, and you certainly are one and knowledgeable at that, was that they were trying to draw them offside. You go for it. If you don't draw them, you accept the 5-yard penalty and you go on. You keep the timeout in your pocket for later in the game. Close game like this, that could come back to haunt you. Let's make a note of that here at the 10-minute mark in the 3rd quarter.
That's true. That's burning that timeout, which is as Hernandez goes back in punt formation for Leuzinger. Now, wouldn't it be ironic if they actually drew him off here, but they don't.
They don't, and they get away a pretty decent kick to about the 36-yard line. And Leuzinger special teams stops him right at the 50-yard line. They're going to spot it officially at about the 49.5, where it'll be Cougar ball, 1st and 10 here in the second half, 9:54.
Well, this game,
in the 3rd quarter.
This game had the same kind of emotions that Oklahoma, Nebraska had last week, but of course, this game turning out to be a lot more competitive game than Oklahoma, Nebraska turned out to be. As the Hawthorne Cougars go to the offense, trailing by 7. Salim Stevens at the quarterback.
Stevens runs left, keeps it himself, hits the hole, has some running, has the first down, still running. This is quarterback Salim Stevens, goes to the right side, finally brought down. Boy, that was Lelua with a touchdown saving tackle. Stevens got down inside the 10, looks like at the 5-yard line where it's going to be 1st and goal, as you see here on the replay. Salim Stevens does it all on his own, David.
They took a play out of the Leuzinger playbook there. Great fake. And he reminds you of Randall Cunningham when he runs, holds that ball out dangerously. Coaches don't like to see that. But he gets them down close to pay dirt, where they are knocking on the door trying to tie this Mayor's Cup up.
So Stevens does it himself. Keeble gets it. Keeble looking left, not going to get anything. Brought down near by number 22 for the Olympians. That's George Cooley with the tackle for a loss on the play.
Well, I think they know what sort of, if Lamar Keeble does shave, they know what kind of aftershave he's got on, because they have been all over him tonight. That secondary has come up. They kind of know when he's going to get that ball. And this is just a great play by George Cooley here. With Kava Makalo coming in to finish it off, and Hawthorne is going to take a timeout. That's their first timeout of the second half.
Of course, if you're Hawthorne, the timeout is a little more wisely taken because they're in scoring position.
And this, of course, an important drive. They don't want to come up empty here at this attempt. We remind you of the situation on the season. The Bay League, 3 teams at 3-2, Redondo, Hawthorne, and Leuzinger. Maricosta in first place at 5-0, Peninsula 4-1. 3 teams from the Bay League Division III will make the playoffs, possibly a 4th. You pretty much figure Peninsula and Maricosta are going to be in. The winner here tonight, and also probably Redondo Union, based on what Redondo Union is able to do tonight at Peninsula, as you take a look at the two. Oh, there they are. They're having a good time. But Ken didn't ask them what would happen if there was going to be a tie. I know Ken didn't think of that. But getting back to our playoff possibilities, the winner here tonight will take a giant positive step toward possible playoff berth, but it will not be automatic. The loser will not be automatically eliminated, but they will put themselves in a bigger hole to climb.
It's a 2nd and goal now. Stevens drops back to pass, rolls right, looks up the middle, takes it up the middle himself. Stevens gets inside the 5. Looks like they're going to call him down at about the 3-yard line. So Salim Stevens does it on his own to get him back inside the 5-yard line, where it's still going to be 3rd and goal, as we see it here on the replay, Dave.
Nobody open, and he, of course, shows the ability to run.
Technical difficulty there on that replay, but it is a 3rd and 1 from the 1-yard line for the Cougars. Stevens gives it off to his big guy, number 45, and the human bowling ball gets it in for a touchdown.
That's Fatai again. He scored earlier, and he scored their touchdown in the first half. And he scores here to bring them to within 2. Actually, to within 1, pending this 1-point conversion. Here are the Hawthorne fans. They come to life right now. And yes, this game is a lot better than Nebraska and Oklahoma.
And the old swinging gate play as they fall back into formation.
It's Courtney Barton to attempt to tie this one up.
Barton's kick is up, and it is no good. No good. The official took a good long time to decide that one before calling it. From our angle, it was hard to see exactly how close it was, but after some reservation, they decided that the kick was no good. So therefore, at the 8:17 mark on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, our score in the Mayor's Cup, the Mike Witt Mayor's Cup, is Leuzinger 14 and the visiting Cougars 13.
Well, while we have a chance, I'm going to look at the standings once again, taking a look at the total picture. This week, 5-0, Maricosta, Peninsula 4-1, Redondo, Hawthorne, and Leuzinger all 3-2, Beverly Hills 2-3, Culver City, West Torrance 0-5. The only thing we do know is the bottom 2, Culver City and West Torrance, will not be in. Beverly Hills still has a shot. Beverly Hills tonight is playing at West Torrance, so you figure that's going to be a victory. But nothing has been settled, and with 1 week to go, this one is tighter than the election that's coming up next week.
Well, it's going to be a touchback got a communication issue back here. This is the second time this has happened between Bro and Lalua as to who's going to handle the return. And you see Coach Witt, we don't see him in our camera shot, but I can tell you, Coach Witt is looking at both of those guys with an indication that they need to get their act together on the return. One or the other has to handle that ball. That's the second consecutive ball return situation where it was mishandled by not knowing which of the two would in fact handle.
And we'll see how much it's going to cost them in terms of yards. You know, although it's 14-13, Leuzinger in the lead, they have to feel as though they're trailing right now. They have to feel that momentum is perhaps not with them. The fact that they were stopped on their first possession. Hawthorne comes down, and some brilliant running by Salim Stevens is able to score. And they are just a missed PAT away from tying the ball game up. So Leuzinger has to go at this, although they do in fact have a 1-point lead. We have an interesting situation on the sideline. The Hawthorne Cougar mascot has boldly decided to come to the Leuzinger side.
To go where no Cougar has gone before.
Now that can cause a riot. I'm wondering if one of the Leuzinger Olympian mascots has gone to the other side of the field.
Well, we know that Cougars are not known to be the real animal that is. Certainly none of the human Cougar fans among the brightest animals in the jungle.
Well, the Hawthorne Cougars 2 years ago won the Bay League, a ball game we did at their homecoming at Howcap Field, where they knocked off Peninsula, and that propelled them to the title in the Bay League. They beat Glendora in the first round, lost in the second round. Now that's an interesting little picture right there. Was that Monique from the Parkers? Oh, that's a little bit of fun.
So all in good nature, human fun, and the fans respect the efforts of both the Hawthorne Cougar and the Olympian cheerleader who played the role of the Olympian. Back to live action on the field. It's 1st and 10 for the Olympians now. On the carry, Lalua picks up a deuce.
Well, we were talking about playoff action 2 years ago. Hawthorne won the Bay League. They defeated Glendora in a 49-45 barn burner in first round of the playoffs, and they lost to Dominguez on their home field. Last year, Leuzinger had a good year. They lost out the Bay League title to Peninsula, but they defeated Glendora at Citrus Community College in round 1. Right here, they defeated Dominguez in round 2, but lost to Diamond Bar at Diamond Bar in the semis.
Cooley with the carry. Cooley hit hard straight up after a short gain on the play. It's going to bring up a third and some real estate for the Olympians.
And again, this is a big third down right here at the 7:15 mark, because even though they are still leading by 1 point, momentum is definitely with Hawthorne at this point.
Third and 5. Got flags on the play.
Going to need a beat
going on everywhere. One of the Olympian cheer members.
Getting ready to say we're going to need a V-chip pretty soon if this keeps up.
Oh, this young man and I've got to get his name one day, but he's taken the hard for many years. Indication from the referee Frank Johnson, illegal procedure against the Olympians. But back to the sideline show. He enjoys what he does, and he entertains and thrills the crowd with his repertoire of acts. And that one just got a rise out of the Olympian crowd. But back to real action fans, it's a third down, and they're showing it as 14. Looks like third and 11. Olympians gonna be in a punting situation here as that play goes absolutely nowhere for them. That was Lalua with it. Olympians right now clinging to a 1-point lead at 14-13, David. They're going to have to punt this away and give the Cougars good field position.
Well, Momo Villamonga and Dwayne Smith getting in there that time to make sure that nothing would be doing. And as we mentioned, even though the Cougars are still trailing by a point, it is as though they have the lead because they've definitely got that momentum. As Hernandez goes back to punt again.
Hernandez needs a good kick here. It's a high snap. Gets away. Hernandez needs looking to get the kickoff. Doesn't get it away. And the Cougars are going to have the ball at their own 12-yard line. Is there a flag on the play? Can't quite tell. We do know it's going to be Cougar ball in all likelihood. They forced the turnover. You see the Cougar crowd there in your picture, awfully excited.
And of all the visiting crowds you would figure that you'd have here at Olympian Field, they have brought the biggest. When Peninsula played here last year, they brought a pretty big crowd, but the Hawthorne Cougar crowd, they are here in droves tonight, and they're seeing their team with a chance to take the lead right here.
1st and 10 from the 11. Stevens drops back the pass, goes left, and it's broken up by Lelua. Barton looking for a flag. None is to be had. Excellent defensive play by Lelua. Lelua stretching a little bit there. May have cramped up just slightly. Still doesn't have his legs under him.
Well, not only does he carry the ball very well, he plays that secondary. And he does a very good job of it. Staying right with his receiver here. Little fade into the end zone.
Back to live action. Here's the pitch back. Keeble steps out of bounds, they're going to say, at about the 5-yard line.
Forced him to the outside. Looked like he had a hit of steam, but they bump him out and save the touchdown. And it'll bring up a 3rd down.
Thought the Olympians had to stop in the backfield, but they let him get away. Some technical difficulties there on the replay. Now you see it. There was a guy right there. Cooley, you thought had to stop. Wasn't able to make it. So the Cougars have 3rd and 4. They can pick up a 1st down, Dave, without scoring a touchdown if they get it to the 1-yard line. Leuzinger right now in need of a huge defensive play. Here's the pitch to Keeble. Skips one tackle. He's going to get in, looks like, and he does. From 4 yards out, the Cougars now take the lead with 5:41 left here in the 3rd, courtesy of the 4-yard run by Lamar Keeble.
Well, because our microphones are on the home crowd, you can't hear anything right here. If we had our mics on the far side of the field, we would not be able to talk right now because they are having a party over there on the Hawthorne side of the field. As you saw, they had a chance to get him, coming up quickly to try to make the play, but not able to wrap him up. Grant Roberts had the beat on him, but once Grant Roberts lost him, he was into that end zone.
Cougars' effort to go for 2, got a flag on the play, and Stevens is going to be brought down on the play, but let's see how the flag affects the outcome of this play. This could be huge if it gives the Cougars a 2nd chance. Flags against the Cougars. It's declined by the Olympians. Therefore, the result of the play is no points.
And we have an injured
Cougar down on the field, being attended to. Looks like it's the right calf. That's what the training staff there for the Cougars is attending to. Can't see the number of the player, so we won't speculate as to whom it might be.
Well, this ball game has certainly turned in this 3rd quarter in favor of the Hawthorne Cougars. And they have done it on the running of Salim Stevens. And, of course, the feature back, Lamar Keeble. See if we can take a look at this play and see who goes down here. There's the procedure call.
So that was Pete Naha up on his feet. Goes off under his own steam. Nico Furtado, okay, well, that tells me, all right, thank you.
And there we
that
talked
I had
about
some
the
erroneous information
Well, we talked about the army of coaches that Hawthorne has. There you see some of them there. Leuzinger with 2. They've got about 8. And that man, Nico Fatai, scored 2 of their 3 touchdowns tonight. 19-14. But this one is still up for grabs, and now with the 5:41 mark, with all the lights working on the scoreboard, it will be up to the losing Olympians to counter.
Okay, so here's the kickoff. This one sails into the end zone. Olympians have made the adjustment, just to go back to the point I made earlier. Bro was back deep as the return man on that play. Of course, the high snap on the punt attempt was what led to that score, Dave. So, as a Daily Breeze so aptly pointed out, this game could turn on big plays, and that was a big play.
And of course, when you've got the momentum on your side, things like that are going to happen. If we can remember back to the last series of plays before Leuzinger, before the end of the first half, they were able to score by being unpredictable, not just running it straight into the line, but by doing counters, sending the quarterback through the middle. They don't do it here.
McClendon's carry up the middle goes for very little gain.
And Salim Stevens in on the hit that time. And again, it seems like such a long time ago, but they were able to run successfully by faking to one side and sending QB David Guerin through the middle. They were doing the reverses, which was freezing the Hawthorne defense. Right now, the way they're just banging up in there, they're prone to a big play.
There's a pitch to Bro on the left side, and again, Bro not able to get loose. Leuzinger still looking to get the Medusa loose.
That old Medusa that you talked about. The Hawthorne defense is so high right now that they're almost in danger of getting a penalty called. I mean, not a bad penalty, but they're just whipped up at this point, and you can almost see an unnecessary roughness or something coming in there because they are tackling hard. They're all over the ball, and right now they're not being challenged by Leuzinger. Leuzinger is giving them nothing to think about defensively, the way they did it that last drive at the end of the first half.
So it is a 3rd and 10 for the Olympians. Big 3rd and 10. They do the double reverse. This Lalai has some running room, has the first down. This will keep the drive alive for the Olympians. They run the reverse play with Bro handing off to Lalua, and it's good enough for the first. That'll move the chains, and as I said, keeps the drive alive for the Olympians.
And Rufus, that's the first time we've seen that since that last drive at the end of the first half. If they don't do that, he's dead in the backfield. But on the reverse, he got 8 men on the defense going after one guy. He's able to come around the right side, and he does keep the drive alive.
So, Olympians again keeping the ball on the ground. Short gain on the play.
Thomas Broussard, big number 90, coming in there for the stop.
We'll see Broussard a little later in the year on the basketball side of things.
Well, that ought to be interesting.
Second down and 8 play. Guerin in at quarterback. Gives it to Bro. Bro running behind some runners, has some room. Bro picks up the first down as he gets out near midfield. I think he's going to be at about the 48-yard line, but it's enough for the first down. 3:12. Clock stopping momentarily to move the chains before they signal for it to restart. Here's the replay, Dave.
Got to give Kava McCullough out there on the block. Throwing the big body, Andre Rochelle. That time it was just bread and butter. Sweep to the left side. Get your big lineman out there blocking for you. And they did it.
Things starting to cool down just a little bit here. Lalua now has the carry. Lalua has the wall in front of him. Whoa, Lalua brought down hard, but with a clean tackle. Got Olympian down upfield. This is number 54, who's down on the field for the Olympians. And of course, we know if we check our program, that number 54 is Rochelle. the defensive end.
And of course here he plays on the offensive line. Andre Rochelle will come off to the sidelines. And that time another good block to spring the runner coming around right side, Leula. So you just get back to basics. Just tighten the chin strap, get underneath him, push him out of the way, and positive things happen.
So it's a third down play for the Olympians. Scoreboard shows second down side. Well, now it's corrected to second. McClendon goes around. McClendon picks up a good 4 on the play. We'll make it a third down and 1. Just wanted to go back for a second, Dave, and again apologize to the Cougar fans and to Channel 22 fans in general. I kept calling number 45 in my program. It was Pete Naha. Of course, we can only announce as well as the information you're providing. And the roster that was provided by Hawthorne had indicated that 45 was someone else. But apologize for that mistake, and now we've got it corrected.
Oh, no need to apologize. Rufus, when I first started working with you, I was calling you Rufus Thomas, remember?
Got a flag
made
on
that
the
record
play.
of push and pull.
This may be a cheap first down for the Olympians. And it does go against the Cougars. And got to give them the first down.
Well, right now this game is turning on the fact that the Leuzinger Olympians have changed the running attack. Not tried to go straight up the middle, have been taking it to the outside where the blocking is coming.
Here's a pitch back to Lalua, and Lalua gets a yard on the carry. Taken down on that one by number 15 for the Cougars, Arturo. Well, I'm not even going to try. I'm not sure what the value of the information that, in terms of the roster that was provided, but apparently it's not accurate. So we'll push forward. Nonetheless, we've got under a minute left here in the third quarter, Dave. Leuzinger trying to recapture the lead. This is Bro with some room. And there's Hawthorne saying the balls are loose. The official, the referee agrees with them, and now it's going to be their ball at their own 40-yard line.
Well, a tough play. That time, a tough hit. They had blockers out there, but they just would not be stood up as he's hit around the knee, fumbles the ball. It looks like Dwayne Smith coming in, and I think he did get the fumble. So it's big Dwayne Smith. He wasn't the one that laid on the hit. And you saw a couple of times on that series the big front line, David Avalos, Andre Rochelle and company, just laying people out. That time the Hawthorne Cougar blockers stayed with him.
And clock now reset to 1 minute. No, they're gonna run it down again. They're running it down to, well, they're letting it run apparently. They've had some, as you noted earlier, some issues with the clock.
We've seen sometimes at this field where the clock just does not work properly.
Well, it looks like now they're running it down. I mean, they've stopped. Well, okay, they ran it down to 30 seconds. That's what they did. And so it's a Cougar ball with 30 seconds left here in the third quarter. They're up by a score of 19-14. Stevens back to pass. Has it caught. He fumbles. It's recovered by the Olympians. Number 54 for the Olympians with the recovery, Andre Rochelle. So, the Olympians give it, and the Olympians take it. Andre Rochelle, there you see him, 6 foot, 218-pound senior. Let's watch it on the replay, fans.
Well, Stevens takes a little too long, tries to step up in the pocket, and of course, Guerin gets there to wrap him up. Guerin gets a sack, and it's Rochelle on the recovery. So he needed to get rid of that one a little sooner. Obviously, everyone covered downfield. Good job by the secondary. And holding on to it a little long cost him the sack and the fumble.
Lord, with a big gain on first down. We've got 10 seconds clock running left here in the third. That probably was the last play. Looks like we're going to end the third quarter with the Cougars on top as the score has gone back and forth. But this is the first time tonight that the Olympians have ended the quarter behind. They led 6-0 at the end of one, 14-7 at the half. And now the third quarter ends with the Olympians on the short end by a margin of 19-14 to the Cougars of Hawthorne on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 Sports.
Well, this is a big quarter coming up right here.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a timeout momentarily here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. We'll be right back at you in just a moment. Okay, we're back to live action, fans. We're back right at the start of the fourth quarter. It's Olympian football, second and short. There's the pitch to Bro. Bro has the first down and then some. Bro still on his feet. They're gonna say he was down inside the 5, maybe at the 3, possibly the 2.
Oh, Ronnie Bro, they just gave him the pitch and says, come on my way. He takes it down to the 1-yard line. Of course, the ball on the ground, but ground can't cause the fumble. Comes straight through. And let's see if he was in fact down. Yeah, he was down when the ball comes out. So it's first and goal from the 2.
And there we see McClendon going left. They're stringing it out. McClendon gets in. Touchdown. Victor McClendon on the 1-yard run. Set up, of course, by Ronnie Bro.
Well, it was really set up by the sack by David Guerin and the front fumble recovery by Andre Rochelle. And that ending the third quarter. McClendon goes in from 2 yards out, and now it is the Leuzinger Olympians early in this fourth quarter with a 1-point lead, pending this 2-point conversion. So this is a tight one, and it is an enjoyable one between these two rivals, and there is a lot on the line here tonight.
That 6 makes it a 20-19 lead. This will be a big 2-point conversion for the Olympians because at least it takes the, it puts them in a position where it would only tie. And that should be a deuce for Lalure. So now it scored 22-19. What I was trying to say was that makes it a 1 field goal game. So the worst Leuzinger can do right now on the field goal is tie. Field goal would have cost them the game if they hadn't made that 2-point conversion.
This is a nice little fake right here. Little deke just gets him to the outside, and Elgin Simmons falls down, and he's in there for the 2-point conversion. But yes, you're right, it's a 3-point lead. Now that's some shaking in the stands for you. And because it is a 3-point lead, Courtney Barton is a fairly decent field goal kicker, so if they get it close, although he did miss a 1-point conversion tonight, a 1-pointer was off wide to one side of the goal post.
So after falling behind at the 5:41 mark, now they're saying there was a dead ball foul. I'm going to gather against the Olympians. That was called on the 2-point conversion. Well, this will hurt the Olympian cause rather. Already a suspect kicking game, and man, when you charge 15 yards against them on the kickoff, that makes the effort that much more difficult.
As you see somebody for the Olympians getting worked on the sideline.
So here's a kickoff, squib kick gets, and we got a flag on the play. This looks like it may be offsides against the Olympian special team.
With a 3-point ball game. one game remaining in the regular season for both of these teams. Hawthorne Cougars will be at Beverly Hills next week to end the regular season. And these Leuzinger Olympians will be right here against Redondo Union. And we'll have that ball game for you. We'll have that game for you right here on Channel 22. Redondo tonight taking on Peninsula. And so next week's game between Redondo and Leuzinger is also going to be crucial with the playoff spot on the line. But depending on how, it'll either be crucial or critical depending on what Leuzinger is able to do in these next 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Can we find out who Hawthorne is playing next week?
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills, okay. So we'll need to appeal to the truck as to where we're going to be because...
Oh, I know where we're going to be. We're going to be right here.
There it is. Kickoff, mishandle. Good special teams work there by number 8. I believe, no, they're going to say that was number 2 with the tackle for the Olympians. And of course, that's Andrew Gambino of the Gambino family who makes the tackle there. Not until after he got out past the 40-yard line, but a good tackle nonetheless.
Well, it is so noisy that Rufus and I can't hear ourselves in the headphones any longer. That's how noisy it's gotten here, but this place is really going to erupt in this next 11 minutes and 24 seconds. Salim Stevens, or is he in there, or did they go to Moala at QB?
Well, the Leuzinger crowd is back into it. First down. Moala now in at quarterback. Moala brought down by David Guerin.
That time it looks like they were trying to do the old option play, but Guerin gets right in there. Guerin, of course, coming up with that big sack that led to the fumble recovery.
So Moala goes out. Stevens comes back in at quarterback. They put 2 backs in. They give it to the up back. Etchemer picks up the first down as he pushes it into Leuzinger territory at the Leuzinger 46-yard line. Leuzinger defensive line letting one get by him on that one.
Well, he's a little smaller frame than his brother Joe Etchemer was, but almost looked like his brother coming through there with that head of steam. Kingsley Etchemer, one of the captains on this Hawthorne Cougar team.
Now, out of an I formation, they hand it off to the first back through. Ball looks like it came loose, but they're going to say it was down by contact.
Kava McCullough in there on the stop of Mitchell. And, good tackle there by Kava McCullough.
Ball spotted squarely on the 45-yard line of the Olympians, where it'll be a 2nd down and 9 for the Cougars. I get nervous when those guys don't change the yard markers, man. I remember that famous 5th down play in the Nebraska-Illinois game, I believe it was. Boom. Another pickup of about 2 there. So it should be a 3rd down, and it does show 3rd, so it's 3rd and 7. Leuzinger defense neat and stiffened just a tad here if they expect to shut down this particular Hawthorne drive.
And this Leuzinger defense, of course, coming in with a plan of not allowing Lamar Keeble to get anything off. And they have basically kept him in check. Hasn't been able to break anything big all night.
Again, out of the eye, they hand it off to the first back through. Flag on the play. The flag actually came in before the play got underway.
It's going to be a false start, it looks like. Haven't done much of that since the first quarter. But a bad time from the Cougar perspective to pick up that sort of a penalty.
So it remains 3rd down, makes it now a 3rd and 12. That, of course, benefits the Olympians. Ball back out at the Olympian 48-yard line now. They need to get to the 36 for the first down. Stevens drops back to pass. Look at being chased by Guerin. Guerin giving pursuit. Now he steps up in the hole.
looking to run for it, and he's going to be brought down by number 5, Lalua.
Well, he got the sack, but of course it is Guerin is the one that breaks up the play, because once Guerin gets in there from the linebacker position on the blitz, and that's probably what you saw the assistant coach Dismuke talking about, sending the linebacker or doing something like that, that changes the whole complexion of the play. Looked like he may have been trying to set up a screen. If it was badly designed.
Let's go back to live action as the Olympians they fake the punt. Here's the pitch back option. Leuzinger is going to snuff this one out. 55 and 35 on the stop. Kava McCullough along with, let's call number 35's name tonight again. That's Grant Roberts. So that was McCullough and Roberts on the tackle. Injured Cougar down on the field. Looks like he just got the wind knocked out of him once we see.
Well, they smell it out, and it goes for naught, and it's Barton who is still down. He got up and then collapsed again. And if he's not able to finish, that's going to be a big loss for Hawthorne, both on the wide receiver, and keep in mind that he is the kicker and the punter. Right now, 3 points could decide this game.
And Barton gets up.
The Leuzinger faithful are happy. Their team holds on to a 3-point lead with some time, and they've got the ball. Another score right here for either team would be big, particularly for Leuzinger.
8:03 left in the contest. Leuzinger leading by a score of 22-19. They have possession. Pitch to Lalua, stopped by the whistle of the referee, which was complemented by the ubiquitous yellow flag.
It'll be a false start, obviously. So they're going to set it up at 1st and 15. That's the second time tonight that referee has almost hit Ronnie Bro with his hand while making a call. See that on that NFL Follies film every once in a while. We've almost had it twice tonight done against Ronnie Bro.
So it's now a 1st and 15 for the Olympians. Ball's at their own 40-yard line. Lalua looking to cut it up. Lalua cuts it up, picks up the first down as he gets down inside the 45, but we got a flag on the play, friends.
And it's going to be a hold on somebody for a Leuzinger, obviously.
There you see the replay. Lalua heads right, cuts on a dime, heads up the middle. Got a blocker there in front of him. That's Cooley, number 22. But the flag looks like it's going to negate that game.
Might have gotten Grant Roberts for a block in the back there, which is unfortunate. Aaron Simmons, number 7, was the one who looked like he was hit in the back. So 2 penalties for the Leuzinger Olympians with a chance to possibly put this ball game away. They are marching backwards.
So they bring it back to the Olympian 32-yard line. Olympians need to get to the 43 to pick up a first down. So that makes it a 1st and 25 by my count. 32 and 18 is 50, and 50 minus 7, and 32, yeah, takes it to, anyway. You get the idea. It's 1st and a whole lot. Gary lays it up. Oh, just overthrows his intended receiver, who's McClendon. Boy, I thought McClendon had a real shot at that. Looks like he gave up on it a little bit too soon.
Elgin Simmons and Kingsley Etchema were there in coverage for Hawthorne. But not able to connect on that long one, and it's going to bring up a 2nd and 25 at the 7:45 mark.
And I believe we can officially say that we've seen Leuzinger
attempted more passes tonight than they have all season nearly.
And David Guerin, all things considered, is not a bad. He's shown some good things with that arm tonight. And of course, when they think you're going to run 98% of the time, you're going to have all day to throw.
So they run the reverse. They give it to Bro, and this one doesn't fool the Cougar defensive line not nary bit. And it's going to make it now a 3rd and long.
Elgin Simmons had a shot at him and missed him, but he didn't get. Simmons is going to miss as he tries to go low. But they'll finish him off there. Mwala in on the hit. And this is a big 3rd down and very long. 3rd and 22, says the public address system.
Third and 22 here. Bro coming in motion. Guerin drops back to pass, throws it over the middle, and they get the first down. The question is, will they get the touch? No, they don't. But a big play by number 35 for the Olympians, Grant Roberts. And we've called his name a couple of times tonight, but that was a big one. Olympian secondary player goes for the suicide. And boom, gets burned. That was Terrell Wilson.
Well, a lot of times coaches will tell you, play the man, not the ball, and you get the interception. That time, if he plays the man, he may get pass interference. So one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of plays, and it turns out to be a big play for the Leuzinger Olympians on a good catch. Grant Roberts, a tight end.
Lalua and Guerin, bit of a miscommunication on that play as they bump into each other, and that bump was just long enough. I mean, you talk about it being a game of inches, it's also a game of seconds, David. And that split second that they collided was enough time for the Cougar defense to recover.
Got now 4th quarter halfway over. Which one of those two mayors is going to get the cup? Leuzinger scores right here. They're going to be in excellent shape.
So we got 5:55 left in the contest. Guerin passes over the middle again. And that's Roberts, man. So it looks like they have found themselves a new offensive threat, and his name is Grant Roberts. Roberts is senior guard defensive end. Seeing a lot of action on the receiving end right now.
Let's call it the new wrinkle as they get pressure there in the backfield, but running right off the line, just going straight across the middle. Takes 5 people to get him down, and they don't get him down the first time. He's still up. Now they come in to finish him off, and it's a 3rd and 1, about 1.5. Big 3rd down play right here.
4th quarter action. Leuzinger inside the 10 of Hawthorne. And this looks like this may go against the Cougars, which will give the Olympians, if it stands up as being against the Cougars, a free first down on the 3rd and 1. And it is against them, so the Olympians, can't exactly tell where it's spotted at right now, fans. Bear with me. Okay, they're going to say it's at the 5, so it's going to be 1st and goal from the 5. Boy, this would go a long way towards sealing another W for the Olympians if they punch it in for 6 here, Dave.
Yes, it certainly would.
Guerin gives it to McClendon. McClendon cuts up. Our view somewhat obscured right now by our own camera equipment. Of course, that's no fault of excellent camera stand constructed this week by Jose Bravo. Gives him a better vantage point. Takes a little off of ours, but that's something we can live with.
Well, that time Eric Mwala and Salim Stevens coming down the line to meet him. Flag comes in late, and by the reaction of Leula, it's going to go against Hawthorne. So Hawthorne losing yardage and their composure. That big offside penalty, which kept the drive going, and now a personal foul. That's going to move it at least half the distance, and it'll get a first down.
Not only will it be half the distance, once again, it'll make it 1st and goal. Automatic first down for the Olympians, as it's a personal foul. indicated against the Cougars. Fans, we got 4:38 left in the contest. Leuzinger right now leading by a score of 22-19, but they're knocking on the door.
A touchdown and a 2-point conversion gives them a 14-point lead. This could mean postseason or not right here.
Okay, we're depending upon the camera shot for our view. That's Lalua with the carry. Let's call it a 2-yard carry for Lalua. And does the flag come in late? Not sure if it is. It would be an unsportsmanlike, would be the sense, my sense of it.
And as you're going to see Leula on the ground, somebody from Hawthorne is talking to him apparently after. Looked like Dwayne Smith was over him saying something, and that may be where the flag is coming from.
And we're going to go downfield side to Ken Fine right now. So, Ken, we're ready. Take it away.
Hey, we're down here. That touchdown was just acquired by a great pass. I was here on the sideline watching the pass. You couldn't have believed it. The ball went between two defenders' hands and right into the Leuzinger offender's hands, and the pass receiver took it down. I mean, beautiful. You have got to see this. If you get a chance, do another replay on it.
Lalua cuts it up. Lalua converts. So that makes our score now at the 4:20 mark of the fourth quarter. Leuzinger 30, Hawthorne 19. Leuzinger right now, Dave, in the driver's seat.
Well, my arithmetic wasn't correct. I said it would be a 14-point lead. It's actually 11, which is going to be tough enough to overcome. There's still time, 4:20 to go. But the Hawthorne Cougars are needing a quick score, and then they're going to need the ball. Both teams have 2 timeouts. And right now, this looks like the Mayor's Cup is going to stay in Leuzinger. These two teams met last year at Hawthorne. Leuzinger won. 2 years ago, it was Hawthorne that won the game, so that cup might stay down here at Rosecrans for another year. And Leuzinger right now, depending on what Redondo Union has done against Peninsula, is either going to be, they could actually be tied for second, depending on what happens.
Here's Hernandez's kickoff taken by one of the short guys. That's Keeble, actually, and he's going to be brought down at the 35-yard line. They're going to spot it. So with 4:13 left in the contest, the Cougars of Hawthorne short by 11 points here at 30-19, facing the uphill climb with not a lot of time left.
And you're at the stage of the ball game now where you can start looking at the what ifs. Remember one episode of the Mary Tyler Moore Show when Lou Grant said, "What if?" And Mary wound up repeating it. Well, what if Peninsula loses tonight to Redondo Union? Peninsula would go to 4-2. Redondo Union would go to 4-2. And if this score holds up, Leuzinger goes to 4-2, which means you've got 3 teams in a tie for second. That's what if. But we don't know what's going to happen at this point. And as we mentioned before the ball game, the winner here tonight will take a good positive step toward the postseason. The loser will not automatically be eliminated, but they're going to have a tougher road to hoe with 1 week to go.
Stevens brings his team up to the line of scrimmage. Stevens pitches back to Keeble. Keeble tries to get outside. Keeble. Big hit put on him by the Leuzinger defense. And clock continues to run. We're under 4 minutes now.
Now, of course, if Hawthorne is not able to come back and win this ball game, Lamar Keeble is going to probably be very disappointed and almost feel that he let the team down, but it's not so. He's been a marked man tonight, and he can't quite do it all by himself. As we get our sound back.
Got a mic back in our ears. Stevens drops back to pass. Has a receiver open, and this receiver lets him down by dropping the ball.
It's Etchema, Kingsley Etchema that dropped that one. And the flag comes in. Earlier in the ball game, Victor McClendon dropped what would have been a short touchdown. That one wouldn't have been a touchdown there by Etchema, but would have been a big first down. But we've got to see what this flag is about in the secondary.
Referee Frank Johnson heads out, confers with a couple of members of his officiating crew.
Unsportsmanlike against Leuzinger, and at this stage in the ball game, that's the last thing Leuzinger Olympians want. We have a team on the ropes. As you see, Stevens looking first to the right side. There's Etchema all alone.
Well, the thing about it, the Cougars will have to make 11 the hard way. They'll have to score the touchdown, they'll have to get a 2-point conversion, and they'll have to score at least another field goal. And they've got to do all of that in 3 minutes and 28 seconds.
I think more than that. I think they're going to need 2 touchdowns, and they're going to need to get the ball back again, which will not be easy to do.
But as you said, right now, the Olympians helping them. Stevens dropping back the pass, drops way back, looks deep, going for the home run, and just misses his intended receiver, number 6 on the play.
It's Monroe Alexander.
Is it?
Oh, yes.
You sure about that?
Oh, yes.
Okay, because I'm not sure about anything considering the roster that I have. But it was an incompletion, stops the clock, 3:21 left, makes it now a 2nd down and 10.
Well, some of the Cougar fans have given up. They've started to make their way to their cars. But this game not quite over yet. If they get another score here, it could be interesting.
And in an interesting display, once again, Stevens dropping back, pulls it down himself. Now he's gonna pick up the first, gets the first, may even score. He's at the 10, cuts it inside, brought down at the 5-yard line. They'll stop the clock at the 3:08 mark to move the chains, but it's gonna be a first down. Salim Stevens, 6'1", 190-pound senior.
Well, you never want to second guess things, as we say. He runs broken field running like Randall Cunningham, but some of the Cougar coaching staff probably almost wish he had gone out of bounds due to the clock factor. They've got 2 timeouts, and they may actually have to burn one here, and yes, they are. Well, you can't think of later, you got to think of the now, so they take their 2nd timeout, which will give them 1 left, and at the 3:02 mark, they've got it 1st and goal from the 5.
That could be critical. I think I would have opted to throw it out of bounds and stop the clock rather than, again, use that timeout. Because if you score here, you got to stop them. And guess what you're going to see? You're going to see Medusa rear its head, all right, when Leuzinger gets the ball. You won't see anything but the ground game.
And when you go home tonight, your wife is going to say, Rufus, what is this word you're using on TV all the time?
Well, I'm going to tell her that I'm a Greek mythologist. I wasn't asleep in the 6th grade when we were going through our Greek mythology.
Oh,
but always the most interesting stuff. Now, Shakespeare, I went to sleep on most times. I was not a Shakespearean by nature, but mythology, I got my interest somewhat.
Iambic pentameter and a bit with Shakespeare. Willie Shakespeare, right?
Well, right now, here's what's shaking. What's shaking is that it is the Cougar ball, 1st and goal from the 5-yard line, courtesy of the effort of their quarterback, Stevens. They're down by 11, looking to pick up 6 of the 11 right now. Stevens drops back, throws the fade pass, touchdown. That was Barton. With 2:59 left, they run the fade pattern, works to perfection.
And perfection it is. Barton right there, just tall enough to grab it in as he beats his man on the play. And they're down by 5 as he beat Ellis Vernon. Looks like they're lining up for 1, but I would think they need to go for the 2-point conversion. If they do get the 2-point conversion, then of course a 3 can tie. But I kind of figure that they're going to need 2 touchdowns anyway. Little craziness in the stands around us here. Just a tick under 3 minutes to go. And they do line up for the 2-point conversion.
Well, if you make it, fine. If not, it's like you say, now we got flags on the play. Delay of game is going to be a call against the Cougars.
which would probably mean now with them losing yards, they're going to have to try to pass this in for the 2. But no matter how you slice it, it's going to come down to Hawthorne needing the ball one more time, and Leuzinger, quite obviously, is going to want to keep it on the ground and just run it out because they can only stop the clock one more time. So now they've got to do it from the 7, trying to get the 2-point conversion.
Mwala under center, quarterback. They send a man in motion. Mwala drops back the pass. Mwala still has it. Mwala looking for somebody. He's got a man open. Throws it too late. Now we got a flag on the play.
Well,
this may be an illegal forward pass. They may, not sure that looked like it crossed the line of scrimmage, but the flag came in late. And we'll see what the indication is. And that's what the indication is from the official.
Ineligible man downfield. Well, they took care of, from Hawthorne's perspective.
Same difference, but you're right.
They did get the points on the board. Another touchdown gives them a 1-point lead, but right now, 2:59 to go. Is it actually 2:59 or am I missing a light bulb on the clock?
It's 2:59.
Okay, got it.
The light
got it
bulb
this time.
on the right side, if you go up the spine of the 9, is out. That makes it a 9.
As you see the ineligible man there on that play. Right here, the kickoff is big. So for both teams, Leuzinger, obviously, they want to handle the kickoff properly. They do not want turnover. I mean, this is obvious. These are things that I don't have to really explain. Obviously, they don't want any turnovers, and they'd like to be able to run the clock out. No penalties, no mistakes. I don't think you're really going to see an onside kick here, because if they don't recover it, it becomes almost academic. And for the Hawthorne Cougars, quite obviously, they need to stop, use a timeout in there somewhere, and try to get the ball back to give themselves a prayer of a shot with Courtney Barton to kick off.
But Olympians not taking anything for granted. They've got the hands team up there, and they do run the onside kick, but there's a flag on the play, and I think they're going to indicate that the Cougar special teams is offsides.
Jumped the gun a little bit there. That's going to push him back. I don't know if I agree with this call from James Swain, because if they don't recover, this ball game is pretty much over. Because even if they do stop Leuzinger, I mean, look at the field position. They'd have to go a long way with not much time.
Leuzinger right now continuing to anticipate the onside kick. They've only got one man back for the deep kick, and that, of course, is Lalua.
When you talk about getting your hands team, Andre Rochelle, he's had the hands in this half. He's right there in the middle, number 35. Hernandez, number 7. So some guys with good hands right up there on that 45-yard line.
It doesn't go to 10. Nah, it didn't go 10. So from where they're standing, that's going to be Leuzinger football at that spot. If I understand the somewhat arcane interscholastic rules, I'm so used to watching pro ball, but it is Leuzinger football. And now Leuzinger has 2 minutes and 59 seconds to work with.
And, of course, they're going to keep it on the ground. But right here, the defense for Hawthorne, because of the fact that they've got such a shorter field to cover, can't gamble and do the sort of things that they would if they had kicked deep.
My count, Dave, is that Hawthorne has one timeout left. This is where those early timeouts, of course, Hawthorne used one of its timeouts at a very good spot, and it resulted in a touchdown for them. There's Lalua with the carry. Basically, the Olympians just need one first down in order to salt this one away.
That they do, and they would go up to 4-2 overall. Hawthorne would drop to 3-3. And tomorrow, if you get on the internet or if you buy one of the papers and you check out, because we, of course, have no way of knowing what's happened in some of the other games tonight, but everything is going to look become crystal clear tomorrow. We do this game on Friday night. We're saying Saturday. You may not see this game until Sunday.
McClendon with the carry, goes around the left side. McClendon picks up the first down. We got 2:14 left in the contest, fans. Leuzinger on top by a score of 30-25. Here you see Victor McClendon coming right into your living room.
And give it to Andre Rochelle. David Avalos out there pulling with the big blocks. A little extra effort gets him the first down. And with the clock running, that may have done it for the Leuzinger Olympians.
And when we get ready as we move toward the closure of this game, I hope that they're able to run the graphics that will indicate the fine production crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 who's done an outstanding job tonight of bringing you this 2000 edition of the Mayor's Cup. Here's Lalua. Lalua loses a couple of yards on the first down play. Of course, they're less concerned now about that than they would have been if the score were the other way around. But as I say, the entire crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 has done an outstanding job. Led, of course, by none other than Mr. Tom Strickfat, the executive producer here at Lawndale Cable Channel 22. Jose Bravo on camera, Ali Santana. We brought Robert Medina out of retirement for this special occasion. Joe Shoa handling the parabolic antenna. And I'm sure there's some other people whom I can't hear, but hopefully I'll see their names and we'll be able to let you know who this cast of a dozen is that works with us here.
And we got one more game to go right here next week. Redondo Union and Leuzinger, and then on to the playoffs for one, maybe both of these teams, as right now play is stopped because Hawthorne has taken their last time out, 1:40 to go. It is second down and about 15, and basically they can run the clock out here, can Leuzinger. For Hawthorne, they will need a turnover. They will need some sort of turnover, some sort of miracle, at least to get them the ball back.
That should have been their last time out. There's a pitch back to Lalua. Lalua with some running room. Regains a lot of what he lost there on the play. That'll make it a third down. And let's call it 3rd and 5. Might even be a little bit more than that. We'll see where it is once everything gets settled. Well, it is more than that. If the down marker is any indication. They're gonna list it as a 3rd and 8, Dave.
And it's a big third down right here because Hawthorne cannot afford to give up. Leuzinger Olympians just need to be careful and, of course, not commit a turnover.
1 minute exactly left in the contest. Cooley keeps it on the ground. It's up about 5, but not enough for the first down. Now, if the Olympians run this out as you might expect, there shouldn't be but about 15 seconds left for Hawthorne to work with. I think they'll probably run it here, take the delay of game penalty. They'll exchange the yards for the time on the clock.
And if they get the first down, the game is over. If they don't, Hawthorne has a prayer. This is for the Mayor's Cup, folks.
Crowd comes to his feet. There's the pitch back. Bro with the carry. I think Bro is going to be short from the way they're coming in.
And he's short, Rufus, with 12 seconds to go.
So, crowd's on their feet. That means we've got to do in kind if we want to see anything in real terms, I suppose. Now we've got a stoppage of play by the officials as we have an injured Olympian on the field, Dave. We're trying to get a sense of who that is.
Well, I believe it is the ball carrier, I think. I know, yes, as John Lennon said, in Strawberry Fields Forever. But when all is said and done with 12 seconds to go, yes, it was Ronnie Bro who was hurt. Hawthorne is going to need 79 yards. 79 yards, and they will win this ball game, but they have got 12 seconds to get there. with no timeouts.
So, this is where you go to the Hail Mary, Dave.
Well, maybe you get half of it. You try to get up to about the midfield line in the first play, and then after that, you go to the end zone.
This is high school. If this were NFL, you might have a point. There's his first pass that's knocked down by Guerin. That's Mwala with the pass attempt. So now you've got 10 seconds and 79 yards of real estate to try to negotiate.
Well, bragging rights, they say. I thought that only applies to New York City. Only folks from New York brag.
Well, in this case, there'll be some bragging going on in the South Bay tonight, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of bragging going on in Lawndale and at Leuzinger High School. Mwala looking to pass. Mwala using up a lot of time. There are 3 seconds left. He's still on his feet. Once he's tackled, that's going to be the ball game. And Mwala's still going, but now it's over. It is officially over. Leuzinger wins the Millennium Edition of the Mayor's Cup 2000 as they defeat a very game Hawthorne Cougar team by a score of 30-25 is our final. The Mayor's Cup will remain in Lawndale at Leuzinger High School. As you see, a dejected Larry Guidi walked beside obviously very thrilled and very excited Mayor Harold Hoffman as they go out to take the Mayor's Cup and make the presentation.
Well, Rufus, this was a well-played ball game, all things considered. It was one of the more exciting ones we've had a chance to do this year. There are the two coaches, Swain on the right, Mike Witt heading off there. They'll go to 4-2, Leuzinger, and Hawthorne will drop to 3-3. And as I've said all night, the Hawthorne Cougars right now take a giant step toward, rather the Leuzinger Olympians take a giant step toward their second playoff berth in 2 consecutive years. Hawthorne Cougars are not eliminated by any long shot, but they've got a longer way to go to get there. It'll be interesting tomorrow when you check your papers to find out what's happened with other games in the Bay League, because so many things are going on, and as I've said for about the 3rd or 4th time tonight, this race in the Bay League is going to be tighter than the race for president right now. So a lot of things can happen. Last game of the regular season next week, and for both of these teams, they will be playing big games. Beverly Hills will be taking on Hawthorne at Beverly Hills, so that's a road game for Hawthorne, and Beverly Hills has been tough this year. That's not an automatic. And right here at this field, last regular season game, it'll be Leuzinger Olympians and Redondo Union, and Redondo has been tough this year, and depending on what Redondo does tonight against Peninsula, they'll either be tied or Leuzinger will be ahead of them. So when we greet you next week at this time, Rufus, who knows what the standings could look like?
Well, what we do know and what the Leuzinger faithful do know, though, is that their playoff hopes stay alive, and they got a huge boost tonight with a hard-fought victory over their crosstown rival. I mean, this game had all the elements of a rivalry. The lead swayed back and forth. The emotions of the crowd went back and forth. You had a full house on both sides of the field, but it was a home team, Leuzinger Olympians, maintaining possession. They closed out the Millennium with a victory to get the Mayor's Cup, and they opened it with a victory. So our hats off to the Leuzinger Olympians and to what they hope will be their continuing playoff run right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Dave, in the final analysis, it truly was a game for the ages.
And I think it was a game that both coaches predicted what each team's strengths were going to be. It is a shame that turnovers did play a little bit in the final outcome of the ball game. It was really a tough loss for Hawthorne here tonight. But all in all, a well-played game. And I wouldn't be surprised. There's a slight possibility that both of these teams can make a playoff spot if they take the F a fourth and at-large bid for the playoffs.
Let's go down the field. We've got the presentation of the Mayor's Cup. That's Mayor Larry Guidi of Hawthorne on the sideline. offering his congratulations.
The mayor of Leuzinger and the coach and the official mayor of Lawndale, the Mayor's Cup to Harold Hawthorne and the boys of Leuzinger.
And there you see a very respectful ceremony where Larry Guidi, mayor of Hawthorne, presents the Mayor's Cup to Mayor Harold Hoffman and the Leuzinger Olympians. So, there you see the ceremony. The Mayor's Cup has been passed, all right? Or, in this case, it stays home where it was and where some believe that it rightfully belongs. Of course, the Cougars and the city of Hawthorne would argue that point vociferously with you, except for now, Dave, they've got to wait a whole nother year. Well, 365 days to get another shot at it.
And next year, of course, it'll be up at Hawthorne's field. But then again, there is that slim possibility that suppose both of these teams meet up in the Division III playoffs. How about that? That would be for all the marbles in Division III, but it would take quite a bit for that to happen. But one of these teams is going to be in the playoffs, and right now it looks like Leuzinger has the edge. Hawthorne not totally dead yet, but obviously they would need to win next week, and they're going to need some help. But anything can happen. If they do take 4 teams from the league, Hawthorne could get in. If they don't, well, it's going to be kind of tough, but there's still a lot that can happen, and one more week of the regular season to go.
Well, I would say that the Cougar chances are at best on the bubble. But, you know, you keep hope alive and you see what happens. We, of course, here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 are huge supporters of both programs, and we certainly want to see both of them go. So, as you said, let's wait and see what happens next. Hey, folks, for everybody here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, if they give me a graphic, I'll give a shout out to the folks on our production crew if we've got that. We told you a couple of them already. Of course, tonight's broadcast, and there we see the executive producer, Tom Strickfat and Jose Bravo. Graphics, Jason Cheney and Mario Tarsi. It's going real fast. You see them. I can't even talk that fast. I won't pretend to try to. The only 2 names I know and recognize and can say, of course, are the announcers, Dave Marks and myself, and down on the field, Ken Fine. This, of course, has been a production of Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 under the auspices of the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation. To all of you out there, we say good night, and we'll see you next week.